Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the European Technology Network. Today is Thursday.
Here we go.
It's the 15th of January. Woo, 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 woo. Crowd is already going nuts. It's good to be back. And
it really is.
We have a belter for you. Have a bit of a special one today.
We have we're rocking through the guests. We've got 6 guests on today. We've got half an hour before we have those guests on. The first one is Dom Hallis. Basically, a bunch of stuff has hlegend. I've literally been like, I went on Sifted yesterday, and there were 3 articles about. So we mentioned Jan Leeken, Nick Clegg, Hiro Capital, that kind of like the triangle. And there is more news about them. So we're gonna deep dive it with Dom Hallis. He is coming on at 11:30.
Dom was a previous guest of the show.
Previous
he
guest.
is the executive director for the Startup Coalition. Doing great work. Yeah, we had Dom on. I think he called in from
America.
Yeah, but
US.
it was like
Texas or
deep
something.
south.
Yeah. He was on a boys' golf trip, I believe.
Yes, that is correct.
So I don't know if he must be back in London now. But anyway, then we have Tom Wilson. He is a partner at Seed Camp. It's going to be a good conversation with him. Thanks to one of our angels for introing us to Tom. Then at 12:30 p.m. we have Ria Grover, CEO and founder of Sequence. They've just done a $20 million. Is it Series A? Series A. Killer company, killer founder. It's going to be a very good conversation.
He is a beast.
Then we have the one and only Mr. James Wise.
Let me play
James Wise is a partner at Boulderton Capital and the chair of the UK Sovereign AI at the Department of Science. What is it? The Department of
Science, Innovation and Technology.
There you go, Department of Science, Innovation and Technology. He recently announced that they're hiring. They just did a post about their hiring. And also an article came out that we talked about last show about Revolut and their shares in Revolut going from M's. I think they put $1 million in the pre-seed.
And a few Bs.
Now they've made a few Bs. I think they cashed out on $2 billion. They have a $9 billion stake in Revolut. So an incredible deal. So we can talk to him about that as well. Then at 1:30 p.m. we have Sam Kokek. He is the CEO and co-founder of Clearly. And then at 1:50 for 10 minutes, he's calling over from SF. So it's about 5 a.m. for him. AI Danil Bakirov. He is the CEO of Sparkles, which is just it's just launched. He got a lot of reception on X when we launched him as a guest. He's an absolute beast. I've been talking to him for a few months now, and he said, "Just wait, let me launch this thing. It's a YC company, and then I can come on and talk about it. So we can talk about that. So it's gonna be a good show."
Yeah, he dropped out of UCL. I think he's 20. Is he 20?
He's about 20, yeah.
He dropped out of UCL at 22 going through YC and has recently got into their winter batch for 2026.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. So yeah, he's heating up right now as well. He's been posting pictures of his calendar, and it's just getting chock-a-block full of demo requests, and also people begging him for jobs as well. So
yeah, apparently the engineers need
they need jobs. They need jobs at YC companies. They're booking demo. I think they're booking through his demo link.
Yeah.
Like CS grads, and then being like, "Hey, can you just hire me?"
It's quite funny.
Bold strategy. I'm not. How would you find? If you're hiring, let's say we put a role or not a role out. You can't really request a demo with us, could you?
Request a demo, maybe to come on the show. I don't know.
The demo would be yeah. Maybe like it's embargoed news, and then it's someone like, actually, I want to join the company. I think that'd be actually quite fine. I wouldn't mind that maybe.
I don't think that'd be too bad. But anyway, so we're gonna jump into Nick Clegg, Hiro, and Jan Leeken in a bit.
We're gonna wait for Dom to go on first.
First of all, we're gonna talk about Europe's new unicorn.
Yes.
Aikido.
Yes.
Aikido did a $60 million round at a $1 billion valuation. It's backed by, I believe it's backed by DST Global, PSG Equity, and Singular. I believe we have someone from Singular on, but here's the story. Do you want to chat?
Yes. Well, let me just first play our money.
There we go.
Aikido Security hits unicorn valuation with 60 million Series B, which values the company at 1 billion. So Belgian cybersecurity startup Aikido Security has been crowned Europe's newest unicorn after raising a 60 million Series B funding round. Founded in 2022, Ghent-based Aikido promises clients a no BS approach to security. That's what you want to hear that with your security.
No BS approach.
No BS. With an AI-powered platform enabling them to easily secure their code, cloud, and other processes. The company recently ranked second in the Sifted Future 50 list, which uses a 1-year revenue growth rate calculated over the two most recent financial years to identify the startups with the highest percentage growth. Aikido recorded a 1,531% revenue growth rate in its latest financial year ending January 2025, according to information submitted to Sifted. Very snazzy. And the lineup of investors.
Indeed.
So the funding round, which valued Aikido at 1 billion, was led by DST Global with participation from PSG Equity, Singular, shout out to Singular, friends of the stream, and Notion Capital. Shout out to Notion Capital. They are also friends of the stream.
They are. Aikido recorded a 1,500% revenue growth rate in its latest financial year ending Jan 2025. Which is kind of wild. It's the fastest ever cybersecurity to reach a unicorn status in Europe. They've been going for 3 or 4 years.
I think it's fastest cybersecurity company to reach unicorn status, full stop, not in Europe.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, no way. That's wild.
Sorry,
it's 4 years old.
In Europe. You're
okay,
right.
in Europe. Okay, cool. The CTO, Willem Delbert, he said, we're tired of cockpit security. They decided to build a platform that treated security as an engineering problem rather than a compliance hurdle, focusing on signal over noise. They skyrocketed from a 2022 funding round to a $1 billion unicorn status in 3 years, making them the fastest European.
Yeah. I just brought that down. It's nuts. The founding story was basically so none of them had a cybersecurity background.
Yeah.
Which is so interesting, because that would seem...
Which you're seeing more often.
Well, there's that stat where I can't remember what the exact percentage is, but it's like a surprisingly high percentage of, 20% plus, I can't remember what the exact number is, percentage of unicorn founders don't have experience in the industry that they're founding in. Which is weird, right?
Which is kind of weird, yeah. But then I guess I love the saying company building. If you're good at building companies, you can kind of be put in a lot of places. Obviously, there are companies where you have to be super specialized, and that depends, where obviously technically where the company is building. But if you're a A-star company builder, then kudos to you. You're going to probably build a big company, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Would you say that's fair?
I think well the narrative of why it's a good thing, I think that that one doesn't come from the background of the industry that they're building in, is that they get they're not confined by the constraints of the previous do's and do nots, basically. So you're not trapped.
They don't know what they don't know.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So they can kind of...
It's such a thing. It's such a key
accidentally break through, barriers that were previously there. There's, no, you can't do that.
There was
this and this.
There was a quote actually. It said, "When you haven't learned the industry rules, it's easier to break them," and that outsider mentality is still our advantage.
So cool, so cool. But what's weird is I wouldn't think, out of all the industry, if this is
out of all the industries is cybersecurity.
Is that the one where it's it's our advantage?
Oh yeah, you can one shot that.
You know what I mean? Is that good? I mean, obviously it's good. They're doing a great job, right? They're doing an amazing job.
Yeah.
But
they're doing a better job than any other company that's tried to hit a $1 billion valuation.
Yeah, which is a lot. Better than us.
Yeah,
we're getting there. Can't wait for that unicorn announcement when
we have how long will we be going? 4 months. We've got 3 years and 8 months to get to $1 billion.
Oh, is that it?
To hit. Is
that it?
Yeah.
Do you think is there a
although we're not cybersecurity
out there that would?
There's $1 billion.
It does $1 billion. Probably not. That's
it can't be,
isn't it?
Joe Rogan.
It won't be a bill. I wonder what it is. Let's just check. Really
It could hundreds of millions. It would be hundreds of millions.
Revenue.
Next on the ledger is the Thinking Machines Lab co-founders have rejoined OpenAI. So this story is interesting. Basically, founded in February 2025, the former OpenAI CTO Mira Murati, Thinking Machines Lab. She basically founded Thinking Machines. It's a high-profile artificial intelligence startup that positioned itself as a collaborative intelligence company focused on building multimodal systems that learn from human experience rather than just increasing in scale. And basically, within its launch, they two of the founders basically
So I'll break it down. So they launched this.
Did you find the
close to a year ago?
Did you find
the Joe
the
Rogan
stat?
thing?
Yeah.
It's like 100 million.
We're too skewed in tech.
100 million, I think, but that's revenue in his pocket. Like it's not.
Oh, 100 million in revenue.
Yes, potentially. Yeah,
No
it's
way.
estimating here. Annual podcast revenue estimates figures between potentially over 100 million. Sorry.
That's
Which
wild.
Spotify deal was worth up to 250 million, but that was over a number of years, I think. And then but then there's ad revenue on top of that. So
I would say
add another 80 to 100 million annually from all the streams.
And then it may be like I don't know how old it is, but I don't know how you value a podcast, but
I mean, it's making 800k per episode. New
That's
Spotify
wild.
in 24 multi-year non-exclusive renewed, rumored to be worth up to 250 million. Wow. Anyway, let's go back to
I would say that it's probably in the like late 100 millions, if not kind of
For him
towards a
annually?
billion. Well, if
it's gotta be more.
If you take like a 9x multiple, I don't know how you value a podcast.
So that was
but
just from his Spotify deal.
that's what I'm saying. Like if you
You've got ad revenue on top.
if you multiply that, and the valuation would be, I don't know.
Oh, you're valuing it.
I'm valuing it. But I don't know what the multiple would be on a podcast.
His podcast. I'd say someone would buy that for
$1 billion.
it's a lot of money, isn't it?
Yeah. Also,
But think about the
He wouldn't
narrative
say-
and the control he has. And the
yeah,
power.
he wouldn't sell it, so it's kind of a pointless
he wouldn't
conversation.
sell it. That's
Anyway.
true. We don't do hypotheticals here.
Yes.
Thinking Machines. Let's go back to so Thinking Machines. Co-founders are departing. Someone has called it sinking machines, which I found quite funny. Anyway, Thinking Machines. What is it? It was founded in February 2025 by a former OpenAI CTO. It's Mira Murati. They raised $2 billion in seed funding in July 2025.
Largest funding ever.
I'm not sure at that stage, perhaps in tech, but I mean, it must be 2 billion seed funding. It's insane. In July 2025, at a 12 billion valuation, this was led by Andreessen with backing from other tech giants like Nvidia, AMD, and Cisco. But recently, as in within the last 8 hours, it's seen 2 of its original 5 co-founders leave, which brings the total up to 3 of its original 5 co-founders have now left. So 2 have departed this morning. They're both ex OpenAI employees. Prior to that, they were both at DeepMind as well. I'm going to pull up a article that was shared on Wired earlier today. Which basically covers what's happening. So two Thinking Machines Lab co-founders are leaving to rejoin OpenAI. Thinking Machines co-founders Barrett Zoff and Luke Metz are leaving the fledgling AI lab and rejoining OpenAI, the ChatGPT maker announced on Wednesday. OpenAI's CEO of applications, Fidji Simo, shared the news in a memo to staff this afternoon. 2 narratives are already forming about what prompted the departures.
Well, there was a tweet by Kylie Robinson. She said, "Breaking Thinking Machines has terminated its CTO, Barrett Zoff, due to unethical conduct, according to 2 sources familiar with the matter. CEO Mira Moretti announced the news at an all-hands with employees today. Sumit Chintala will be taking over as CTO. And Mira Moretti posted on X literally
I think how many hours was
12
it?
hours ago. She posted 12 hours ago.
I saw that as I was going to bed.
Yeah. Literally like 12 hours ago to the minute.
Yeah.
Which is kind of wild.
Yeah, so unethical conduct is what's been phrased here. The
Basically leaking information back to OpenAI, no?
is what is being discussed online. So a source close to Thinking Machines alleged that Zoff had shared confidential company information with competitors. Wired was unable to verify this information with Zoff, who did not immediately respond to Wired's request for comment. You have a suspicion that there is a big conspiracy theory.
You could go deeper here. You could go deeper here, and maybe
Let's
this
go
is
deeper.
Maybe this is completely
Let's
out.
get
of
into that brain of yours. Let's
We're
unpack
going
it.
deeper. Basically, what I think, well, potentially, OpenAI could have told.
I think I'm playing an advert
these
of
two.
Mr. Beast right now by accident. I just scrolled it back to the article.
The OpenAI could have said, "Hey guys, like, go and found this thing with Mirror. Tell us all the goss. Tell us what's going on." And in whatever, how long were they there? Like 6 months,
It was founded in July
or 2 years, or whatever. Anyway, within the time
nearly,
span,
yeah.
go and act as aliases for us and
Get
little
in there.
spies. Get in there,
Get behind
and
enemy
as soon
lines.
as you get fired by Mirror, we'll hire you straight back. Which is exactly what's happened. As soon as they've been fired, they've been snapped back up by OpenAI. Probably again for another, like, you know, they probably would have got, I guess,
Such a huge the equity. I mean, the equity alone,
an
like,
incredible package.
raising $2 billion at 12 billion valuation. They have equity. Like, they're one of the OG founders. There were 5 founders. So like that alone, obviously they're leaving. So I'm not sure how that works.
And they got
best.
they probably got a spy bonus from OpenAI if that's true. Maybe
spy
it's not.
bonus,
Maybe it's
yeah.
not. We'll have to ask someone.
Where
at
did
OpenAI.
that rumor start? Do you know? It sounded like it started on the tube on the way here. This morning.
It did. It did.
When I was sat next to you.
Yeah, it did.
But wait, before we move on to
That was what I was reading. That was what I was thinking when I was reading everything about it.
what that you were like. This is a undercover.
I was like, maybe,
behind enemy
maybe
lines
you
here.
never know. Yeah.
No, it's a look. I'm not saying that isn't true. I'm also not saying that it is true. I'm just saying that I also heard that rumor on the way here on the tube
From me.
you. Yeah, it was the rumor was from you.
Yeah.
But it's it doesn't look great. So the firing was apparently done after the fact that Mora became aware of the fact that they were having conversations with OpenAI.
Yeah.
So it's not like we fire you and then like OpenAI swoop in and save the day kind of thing. I think they've been talking with OpenAI for a little bit, and then this comes back to the notion that they were under the impression that one of them was sharing confidential information from OpenAI, from Thinking Machines to OpenAI. So it's, as I said earlier, this is now the third co-founder they've lost since they launched. So just reading again off the piece from Wired, like departures are a blow to Thinking Machines, which also lost another co-founder, Andrew Tulloch, in November when he took a new job at Meta. Marathi confirmed Zoff's departure and said that Sumit Chintala will replace him as startup's chief technology officer. Zoff and Metz left OpenAI in late 2024 to start Thinking Machines with Marathi, the ChatGPT's maker's former chief technology officer. Zoff was previously OpenAI's vice president of post-training, where he led teams that made final improvements to AI models before they were deployed into products like ChatGPT and OpenAI's API. Metz worked at OpenAI for 2 years during his first stint at the company and contributed to projects like ChatGPT and the O1 AI reasoning model. So like they're like...
I think it's a high chance that he's been told by OpenAI to go and
I disagree.
go and start this thing, and we'll hire you straight
I
back
disagree.
when you get.
I disagree.
Anyway, moving on because we don't have too long. Or you got
No, we got. I want to. There's a little bit more.
Okay.
So, I just at the end, Thinking Machines. They were last year Marathi startup. It was valued at 12 billion and was recently in talks to raise more than 4 billion at a 50 billion valuation. And the startup's main product, I'm not sure if it's the only product or the main product, is called Tinker, which allows developers to customize AI models on their own data sets. Now, this is someone was tweeting out, I can't remember where the tweet was, we don't have it on the show notes unfortunately, but someone had tweeted out saying that they think that this isn't going to end well, and it's going to end with potentially maybe like a hyperscaler coming in and just acquiring, like an acqui-hire, right? They just want the people to come and work internally. Maybe it's like a Meta, maybe it's Amazon.
OpenAI have just hired them within hours of being fired. Like it's a clear sign. Like they are the top of the crop talent to be.
Like they were like literally.
They probably have jobs coming at them like left, right, and center.
Well, they don't. I doubt they need like a CV or anything. Like, no. They probably just walk into wherever they want to go. What's becoming weird though is like, so I saw the post that this guy was estimating that they could be acquired for between like 20 and 40 billion. And I don't know if they have any revenue, which is like, I think we're in a most bizarre way, we're kind of past this, like, there's that meme of like, oh no, it's fine, we're pre-revenue. Like you either want to be pre-revenue, which is like a mad take, which is like, we don't make any money, or you want to be making like hundreds of millions in a year. Yeah, you don't want to be anywhere in between that middle because people would be like, oh, is that it?
The classic barbell.
Yeah, which is nuts. But like, I think that this is becoming incredibly like. It is very likely that someone would acquire this thing as like some sort of acqui-hire, and all the shares are tied up in like a vesting cliff past maybe a tiny acceleration. But it's becoming a bit of a like thing, bit of a meta, right? Like Murati was CTO, an amazing like CTO at OpenAI, like an amazing position to have. A lot of clout from the industry comes your way, I guess, if you become a C-suite at one of these hyperscalers, right? Any of these C-suites at any of the hyperscalers could probably walk out and raise, a pretty fat chunk of money without having. Yeah, they could just raise it off their name.
Well, it's only. I mean, all of these hyperscalers, like the only metric that they need to think about, other than obviously like the employee doing a good job performance-wise, and building good models and all that kind of stuff, is retention. Like retain the employee.
Retain the good employees. Yeah. I mean, they're firing people left, right, and center. But.
Yeah, but retain the good ones because they can go out and go and raise a ton of money, or they probably can go straight to a completely different, like a competitor within hours, as we see.
Yeah. But it's weird, right? Because I think that we were paralleling it to H Company in France, but it's the 5 co-founder curse. The 5 co-founder curse.
Everyone knows 5 co-founders.
You can't have 5 co-founders. That's too many people. Do you know how many people if you're in like a room or maybe around a dinner table? That's a lot of people.
That's a lot.
You can't all be the co-founders, right? Like 2, 3 max, and then call it a day there.
3's a crowd.
The 5 co-founder curse is, and it only seems to apply to AI like labs. Basically, the H Company was doing like browser-based agentic stuff as well, and they've fallen. They've been smited down by the 5 co-founder curve.
If you think about it, if you have 5 co-founders, you've got, co-founder breakups happen all the time, right? 2 co-founders, you've only got that chance of those 2 people not getting along with each other, right?
I like where you're going.
But then you've got 5 co-founders. There's a whole myriad of different
Infinite
scenarios
friction.
of people not getting along with each other.
You heard it here first. It's the 5 co-founder curse. We're coining it right now.
Coin that thing.
It's poison.
What about 4 and 3?
3's a crowd. 4's
not great.
You're about to get cursed.
4 you're kind of playing with fire there.
Yeah, you're dancing with the devil.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah. 2, great. 3, pushing it. 4, dancing with the devil. 5, it's co-founder curse.
It's game over.
It's game over.
Moving on, Airwallex. Leave outdated business banking behind with Airwallex, the all-in-one financial platform built for the pace of modern business. Multi-currency accounts, corporate cards, expense management, online payments, all in one platform. Go to airwallex.com. Shout out to them. They gave us a McLaren F1 car. Moving on, before we have Dom Hallis on, we should talk about Listen crossing $100 million in funding. Congrats to them. So Listen Labs has just closed a $69 million Series B, putting total funding north of $100 million, pushing valuation towards the mid-hundreds of millions. Basically, Listen is an AI customer interview platform. It's gaining like enterprise users, Microsoft, Sweetgreen, Robinhood, Perplexity, and shortening research cycles dramatically.
We can play the launch video.
It's backed by Ribbit and Sequoia, but they are getting some slack. Basically, big celebration.
Should we do launch video first?
Let's do launch. The announcement video.
Yeah. Sorry, the announcement video.
Let's do the announcement video.
We have sound now.
So the announcement video came out and has done 1.2 million views. So an incredible thing. But I don't know if it's the best.
You don't like it?
I don't know. I don't know if the views are good. Like, it's not like a good. They're not positive views. Like, it's getting a bit of slack, and
I think most people are.
Most people are like, yeah, they're great.
Happy.
Great, yeah.
Okay, so I'm playing this now.
Surveys suck. We've raised 100 million to help you truly understand your users.
Nice tune.
Yeah. It's quite clean. Scroll down. Scroll down.
Scroll down.
Good. Wicked.
Sorry, guys. Couldn't see that. But enjoying the tune there.
I like the blue. It's a bit of a Polymarket blue.
It seems to be like Gen Z-ified as well, how quick it is. There's a lot going. Yeah, TikTokified.
Yeah,
nice.
TikTokified, I think.
Bit of a banger, this tune.
Kudos to the person who made it. It's quite cool. Boom.
That was excellent.
That was excellent.
That was excellent.
Surveys.
No, it wasn't that good.
So they're celebrating their $100 million in funding.
We've got some messages from Alfred here. Sorry, some tweets from Alfred.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, this is cool. We can see this is it. This is literally a customer review from the CEO of Sweetgreen. So Sweetgreen wanted to figure out their menu. Here's how we helped. Number one, we recruit health-conscious users from 30 million people ready to talk. Our AI interviews thousands. Insight, customers can't hit protein goals without sacrificing flavor. The result, the max protein bowl. Let's see if we can just squeeze all that in there. I'm going to put this video back.
That was an incredible.
As a customer-obsessed brand, really deeply understanding our customers is critical to winning. And Listen Labs has been able to uncover some amazing insights for us that allows us to further our mission of connecting people to real food. As a customer-obsessed brand, really deeply understanding our customers is critical to winning. And Listen Labs has been able to uncover some amazing insights for us that allows us to further our mission of connecting people to real food. As a customer-obsessed brand,
listening to it again.
really deeply understanding our customers is
Yeah. We've already listened to it 3 times now.
That's interesting.
So basically,
what was the Slack?
The Slack is basically there's a guy that basically commented on the tweet and said they're celebrating their $100 million in funding, but it tells you more about what they might not be doing. So there was a lead edge capital meme, if we go on to that, and basically saying that you've got like types of reported information. Oftentimes when we see presentations from companies, they have little information in them. They might show information about numbers of users, total downloads, awards the company has won, etc. Many of these companies have raised tens of millions of dollars in financing and should be able to speak to their traction in some way. To that end, we have created a hierarchy of information included in company decks. Basically, there's a hierarchy of if a company says this, it kind of means this.
Yeah.
So if companies have good cash profits, they report those. Great. If companies don't have good cash profits, they report on adjusted profits. If they don't have good adjusted profits, they report on gross profits. And the list goes down, and basically I've kind of summarized it from strongest to like weakest signal.
Yeah.
So the first one is cash profits, then adjusted profits, then gross profits, then revenue, adjusted revenue, monthly active users, subscribers, downloads, page views, and then awards. Basically awards.
Awards.
Don't talk about awards in your company updates because that is a bad idea.
Awards is funny.
I mean, obviously, like the Sweetgreen thing that does help the case a lot. So I think
that's like a massive
like,
customer.
There's obviously like there's not much merit to this Slack, but it's an interesting one. I think it's an interesting.
They're just announcing
from that.
Yeah, I think they're just having fun with. They could have said we raised 69 million, or they could say, we've raised a total of 100. What's a better hook?
Yeah.
I think it's
so.
like
Judge Holden, the main
center.
Slack giver. I'm begging you, pay attention to what they choose to celebrate and share. It's revealing. It's interesting. I mean, I'd
think
like
it's a little
to talk to him. Judge Holden follows us, so we can We can ping.
Maybe we can check in with him. I think.
Check in.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think it's they're just like, hey, we raised a bit more money. I think
that's it. We're doing well, raised a bit of money, and having a customer insight from Sweetgreen CEO is quite good. They probably don't deserve all of that, but anyway, congrats to them. That is good stuff. Now we're going to jump on to the Nick Clegg and Hiro saga. I believe we have Dom.
We've got our special guest, Dom Halef, has joined the hang. Dom, are we? I'm just checking with our producer. We are live. We're good to go. Dom, how's it going, mate? It's been don't know, how long has it been?
Few months?
I don't know, a couple months. I mean, last time I spoke to you guys, I was like in a motel room in Wisconsin. So at least
that's where it was. That's where it was.
We were just we thought it was
as much as I enjoyed
Alabama.
hanging out with you guys, that was a hellish experience of waking up at a stupid time. So I'm on a normal time zone now. I'm functional. It's all good.
Okay, sweet. We have someone joining from SF at the end of the show, and when I told them, we only go alive at 11 till 2, he was like, "No way! Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah. Oh god.
I'm gonna have to have a 5 a.m. wake up here."
We'll have to dispatch a subsidiary to SF to report on stuff there for us. Dom, thank you so much for coming on. Yeah, we were saying just before you joined last time we spoke, I thought you were in. What we landed on was you were in Alabama calling in from a barn on a lad's golf trip, but maybe we remembered it completely wrong.
No, I was in Wisconsin on an American football trip, which was a lad's trip.
So close.
It
was a lad's trip.
It's pretty close.
We were there. We got close. Yeah, state wrong and the sport wrong. And I'm assuming you weren't playing American football as well. You were watching it.
What with this build? How dare you?
Oh, so good.
That's funny.
Dom, thank you. Yeah, thanks for coming on. We, when we for the viewers at home, Dom is a previous guest, executive director at the Startup Coalition. Dom has come on the show before, and we had an amazing chat about what's going on in the UK and the intersection between technology and policy and all that good stuff. We reached out to Dom last night. He's kind of given up some time. With us. To discuss Nick Clegg, Hiro Capital, and Jan Lee Kun, who we're starting to see pop up a little bit more. I know we saw today he was announced.
There's been 4 articles about Jan Lee Kun and Hiro Capital.
They love Jan Lee Kun at Sifted, and
that picture is getting rinsed of him, like literally just a straight image of his face.
We need more. That's a call out for more photos of Jan Lee Kun. We need more pictures of Jan. But Dom, we're seeing him everywhere. We've just seen he was announced as like an advisor for Prior Labs as well, which is awesome.
He's cooking.
Yeah, Jan Lee Kun is cooking. And it's all sort of like nice stuff for the UK so far, which is quite a nice treat. I'm not sure, what have you seen in the news? I mean, Nick Clegg is coming a bit more into the scope.
He's almost becoming a bit of a bit of a martyr for Europe, which is great. There was an article that basically said that he is when he was in Silicon Valley at Meta, he saw all of these Europeans in high positions in these companies. He was like, why can't Europe go and build these companies? And so he's come back over to Europe from the US to go and do that with Hiro Capital.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, and it's a very sensible question to be asking, right? Like, why can't we go and do this? And the answer is, I think that increasingly people think we can, right? So that's the underlying, I think, principle. I mean, it's funny. So my colleague Venus at the Startup Coalition knows Nick a lot better than I do, but I think the underlying principle has been one that folks, Europeans in the Valley, and also a lot of folks here have asked for a long time, which is, how do we learn what we need to learn from what's going on in the Valley and the incredible company building and all those things, but also acknowledge a lot of the many flaws of that model and what that means, and reflect on that and be like, how do we build stuff? And I think that's kind of what links both the stories about Jan and the things that he's now building and some of the stuff with Nick, which is acknowledging, what we can learn from these incredible companies and the ecosystem that's been built in the US, but not pretend that that's like a panacea or a sort of success story on all fronts, and understand, okay, cool, we can do our own version of this that can also be highly successful. And in the case of Nick investing at Hiro, hopefully highly profitable for them as well, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, when the news came out, I saw a lot of tweets on Nick's like announcement tweet saying like, "Oh, short Hiro Capital, blah blah blah, really bad." But over time, it started to get more positive, and I think it's a very positive thing. Obviously, I wanted to talk about. So Nick basically talks more about the fact that we shouldn't be like trying to clone Silicon Valley. What we should be doing is creating our own kind of moat, I guess, and our own reason for kind of being able to build these global companies. And he said that we have like one arm tied behind our back at all times because of the fragmentation of the it's just obviously a very highly fragmented market, but obviously a very big market. What do you think like is maybe that key thing that could differentiate us in becoming like a global power of building great companies?
Yeah, so I think it's really important that some of those underlying challenges are tackled, right? Whether it's digital single market, and Draghi's big report in Europe was published roughly a year ago now, and I think it's fair to say that not enough progress has been made on a thing that everyone agrees is the right thing, right? Which is a testament to kind of some of that fragmentation, but some of the pace of change being frustrating, certainly to people like me. But what I would say is like, and I know you had my good friend and our great minister here in the UK, Kanishka, on the other week, and like one of the things that is a really good sort of reflection on what he'd said, and something that me and him have talked about a lot is how do we actually talk about the things we're also really good at, right? Like, you go to the US and like people are still paying their rent using checks. Do you know what I mean? It's like, and so actually like we can really look at our financial services ecosystem and all of the structures, and therefore what's been built out of that, not just, Revolut as the standout, but so many other companies too, and be like, great, that's a success story. How do we build on that? Like if you look at the fundamental science and research in Europe in general and the extraordinary success of universities, and we say, okay, great, how do we build on that? And you're seeing that increasingly, some of the investments that say Plural are making in the deep tech space and Infusion and all these really exciting things that are going on, some of that wider kind of material science space. And then obviously in some of these AI companies as well, you're seeing that being developed, reflecting our strengths. And the challenge, and this is where that fragmentation comes in, is that those strengths might not necessarily be, we've got a giant consumer market and you can really easily build into it, which is what the US have traditionally done. And so I think it's kind of acknowledging those differences and understanding what kind of companies will succeed here. But the flip side of that, and I think that this is where, we've seen companies thinking increasingly about is what are the strengths of the fact that you have a fragmented market, bizarrely, is that you get very quickly adaptable to lots of different, moods and dynamics and consumers and all those sort of things. And so, actually what you find is that across the globe, like Americans, I know this is a very sort of simplistic way of viewing the world, but they build great kind of one size fits all products, right? Joe, and it's in like that's the McDonald's, right? Joe, and it's in like they can sell the same. To be fair, McDonald's is actually really good at market differentiation and some shit. But
it's been around for a while.
We just won't talk about that. It's fine. But you've got this kind of bread and butter version, and then it's like actually how do you think about these different markets and how you can expand into them using lessons you've learned elsewhere and techniques that are different necessarily. And I think that there are clearly examples of companies doing that really well in Europe. So
yeah, that's awesome. There was something you mentioned there that was like specifically we don't talk about the good things enough, and it's so weird that the more that we've done this show, the more it's become like weirdly obvious that actually is like incredibly true and also incredibly important to change. Totally. That we just suck at patting ourselves on the back sometimes, and not to say we should all be walking around like, great job, like, and then not to an ignorant level. Yeah. But I think there is room here for a little like, oh, you know what, that was pretty good, and we should maybe, shout and cheer about it, and maybe have some cool stuff written up or some, some stuff go out about it. But when you contrast the two regions, Europe and the US, like the US are amazing at that. They are so good. They are like professional marketers across the board. They market themselves very well. Individual people will market themselves very well. And it's becoming more and more clear that there is a stark contrast in maybe the European way, but also the British way. We're quite self-deprecating. We're quite sarcastic. What do you think that has anything to do with how big of a problem? Like, do you think that is? It seems like it's becoming more.
I think it's really important. I think it's absolutely critical. I actually think it almost starts sooner than that, where it means that you, instead of founders from the very start going out and saying, this is the highest level of ambition and this is what we're trying to build, it naturally conditions you to be a bit embarrassed about that, right? As in, and partly that's like Britain has its own version of this, in that, if you met a person and they told you that in a normal setting in Britain, you'd be like, this guy's nuts.
Nuts.
And in a way that, like, I think Tom Bonfield's talked about this, where like when he kind of went out and spoke to people in Britain about when he was first trying to build Monzo, basically those people went, "That's a terrible idea. Why would you ever do that?" And when you go to the Valley and you say, "I'm gonna, I don't know, like clone the moon or whatever," people are like, "That's really cool." Like, as in, how much money do you need to do that, right? I do think that is a sort of fundamental difference between culturally, but actually, I think that there's no reason on the kind of optimism about what we're doing that we can't completely change that dynamic, right? And funnily enough, this week, like the new stats around like crime in London have come out. I don't know whether you guys have followed this. And if you were to like look on social media about London,
it's a narrative, isn't it? There was an article posted about it on the FT. It was like, why is there a narrative about it being unsafe in London when crime is actually not that bad?
Exactly. And like, we can't be complacent, and there are challenges, and I got my phone nicked a month ago, so it does happen.
I know.
But like,
whereabouts in London? Apparently Mayfair is awful.
Yeah, it wasn't actually, to be fair, it was down near where I live in South London, but it's not some like hellscape. Do you know what I mean? As in, like,
Sounds like you can't go out of your house without being risk of whatever.
So someone's tried to be fair, once in King's Cross at like probably about 1 a.m. But I kind of saw them coming in.
Well, that's okay. It's more like you just
can't.
can't walk out your house, even at like 1 p.m. It's like you can't.
No, it's painted as a war zone, which it obviously isn't.
Well, and also you're a terrifying guy as well, right? Do you know what I mean? They were scared.
I don't know.
They saw him and they were like, "We'll pick a target."
I think I was wearing a gilet and a pink hat at the time. So I'm not sure how terrifying.
I'll throw my coffee at you.
Flat white, uses flat white, super effective. It's weird how it gets painted like that. There's another thing that I think maybe is important to discuss, and it's about the valley of death that gets mentioned in a couple of these articles, essentially referring to the growth stage at which the venture capital from European funds, it can't keep up with the amount of funding needed. So naturally, companies, founders, CEOs will look to the US.
Well, there's just less options, I think, is the biggest thing. It's like there's less option because the distribution of capital, and we've been through this with a lot of guests, where it's like there is enough capital, but it's not being distributed in a way that growth capital is easily attained in Europe, and therefore people move over to the US or go and look at US venture firms who are able / are willing to provide that capital.
Important to stress, when it's not enough capital in the hands of venture capital companies. There's like a problem with like resource allocation. The people who can give the money can't give the money because they don't have the money, essentially. So people look to the US to raise, these announcing my 350 million Series A. Okay, maybe it's not growth stage, but like when you get to growth stage, there's a cliff. Europe can't compete.
And Hiro Capital is like outwardly saying,
yes,
we want
to focus on that.
We're kind of blocking the changing this thing.
Filling the valley of death.
Filling that valley
life.
of death. Yeah,
the valley of life coming soon by Nick Clegg.
Yeah,
that's it.
Do you know what? It's really interesting, right? So I'd say kind of a few different things there. First of all, I think there is a capital problem, as in just the amount of money, right? So I think it's really easy to what you tend to find is, and I speak to a lot of investors and I speak to a lot of founders, and every founder you talk to is like, we could do with loads more capital here. And every VC is like, there's loads of capital. I don't know what they're talking about. And it's like, it's like, how convenient is it that both of those hold those views? But my general view is like, it's all you can eat, right? Like, as in we should be trying to push more and more capital into this market. And part of the reason why is not necessarily because there is an endless supply of good companies and good founders, because I'm not saying there is, but actually one of the major differences between here and the most globally competitive company is simply raising an awful lot more capital allows you to compete much more effectively on the global stage. So actually what you find is that, if you're building a law tech right now and your US competitor is raising 8x what you have raised in your Series B, even if you've got the best product in the world, like the distribution alone, like means that it's like really, really difficult to compete. So I think that like having more capital in the market, as much capital as we can possibly have, really matters. And that's why, from a policy perspective, we care about some of the pension fund reform and other money that will, like I say, get that money, as you put it, in the right hands to be distributing it. I think then there's almost a separate problem set, which is, are we building growth stage funds in Europe that will deploy into the kinds of businesses we're talking about? And I think that the answer to that is clearly there is a challenge there, and it's great that Hiro is trying to fill that gap. And like I said, the guys at Plural are doing a lot of work in this area on the deep tech side. I know Matt Miller's new fund is starting to think about some of these questions from other spaces as well. Like, I think that there's almost the question ultimately is like, to what extent do founders take US capital because it is the only capital available at that stage, or are they taking it because they want to expand internationally, and that is a really sensible and useful way of doing so, right? It's like Mark Andreessen's very fond of saying that really what you're doing when you take equity investment is you're renting credibility, and actually like a lot of that credibility renting when it comes to taking the money when you're trying to expand into global markets is credibility with customers that comes with name brands on your cap table. And so I think that you kind of have to be honest about that's a part of the conversation, at least for a lot of founders, depending on where they're trying to build and what they're trying to do. But of course, either way, the reason why I'm quite bullish about this is like, it's taken a long time, but we're now in a much stronger place as an ecosystem as a whole in terms of the capital environment. And there are clearly still these gaps in spaces that need to be filled. And some of that will be filled by, like I said, funds that are moving hopefully up the market as they're able to raise more private capital because they've been successful further down. If you look at the kind of what we think of now as like the giant European funds, people like Balderton and Phoenix Court and all those guys, they're all starting to build these funds later as well as part of their multi-fund strategies. That's great, and that's really exciting. Some of it actually will be filled by governments as well. The British Business Bank is starting to invest directly later in ways that I'm a bit more skeptical about, if I'm honest. But I think is a reflection of the fact that everyone knows these problems exist, and there's going to be a multitude of ways in which we need to solve them. But I think the interesting question for me is more, you have that makes total sense for these kind of traditional venture capital investments, right? So it's really easy if you're building an AI business with the kind of growth that you're seeing from these extraordinary AI startups in Europe at the moment. That's a very solid venture capital bet, even at growth, right? The challenge comes in some of these harder to reach parts of markets, whether it's because they're kind of first of a kind technologies that are harder tech solutions and it's going to take longer to come to fruition, whether it's just because there's like slower burn growth rates in those markets. Climate tech is always a really good example of this, where the kind of capital that you need at Series B and C and D is actually a little bit different in that you're going to kind of have to alter expectations of return a little bit, because there's not it's not going to be just a straight rocket ship that's growing like 10, 12x a year. I think that's where almost that diversity of capital, is also a really important question that we're going to have to try solve, I think.
That's a really interesting point there. So it's not, you kind of, you can't expect these 12, 15x whatever's in a couple of, I hit $1 billion ARR in a week, but are you saying that that's more relevant for like these companies that you described? Maybe they're hard tech, maybe they're like biotech, or like, is it like impact investments that you mean?
So I don't just mean impact. I think the easier way of thinking about it is like, when I started running what was then Codec, what is now the Startup Coalition 8 years ago, we were sort of considered a technology trade body, right? So it was like there's the technology industry and we were a part of it. And what's the thing that's changed the most as the ecosystem has developed is now what you're seeing is that the venture capital technology-driven model for building businesses expand into more and more parts of the economy. And that's a really good thing. It's brought this technology innovation to lots of areas like that we would never have considered a thing that you could bring that to, right? But obviously, like the economics of these different industries are very different. And so as that, as sort of venture capital has eaten the world to some extent, like it means that the venture capital returns from building, robots that pick fruit might not be the same as the venture capital returns from a subscription business that sells to like B2B. You know what I mean? It's just like they're completely different businesses, right? And in many ways, like it's therefore very rational that the capital needs, but also the sort of expectations of return for that capital will shift. But we still kind of think of it as one big bucket called venture capital. And actually, I think that, like to some extent, that's because it's an easy shorthand to use. But, it's going to change. Like there are different, they're going to get some different answers to these questions. And so some of it might be that impact capital is different. Some of it might simply be that certain industries like that have higher capital costs and therefore the returns might be lower, even though they're really important, might need a different profile of investor that understands the value slightly differently. So one example that I give is, one of the early kind of LP investments that was done by Legal & General in the UK, a big pension fund, was into a fund in the UK that invested a lot in kind of regional companies in the UK and sort of tech outside London, basically. And part of that was because of the return profile of those companies, and they thought they were slightly undervalued. But it was also because they have a massive regional office portfolio that they need to fill with some people, right? So it's like, and so paradoxically, you had this underlying investment where, we'll build these companies that can then fill our office space that we also invested in commercially in Bristol and Leeds and Manchester and whatever. And so you kind of have a logic of like, the economy is not like sort of lots of different pieces, or like it's actually a sort of an organism that all works together. Yeah. And if you're like a large scale capital allocator, you've got to think about your strategy in that way. And like I said, that it might be that different kind of investment firms are different profiles, and then will play a different role in each of those parts.
Yeah. That's so interesting. I mean, that would make me react in like a way where our incentives here. Like are they good? Are they just trying to fill some offices here? Are they trying to?
Well, yeah, that's right. As in, like, but no, I mean, like I said, I think that I was using it as an example, but there's definitely the point being that there are lots of different ways in which this ecosystem will develop, the idea of like a singular sense of what capital is, I think, is the thing that's changed the most in my time doing this job. And actually, sometimes, like from our point of view, talking to policymakers, it's the thing we actually have to explain is that you can have lots of kind of good forms of capital, but they're not necessarily all going to look the same. Like, and sort of successful venture capital investment for different kinds of businesses could look very different, and the structure of the way you think about it could look very different. So, if you're a pharma startup, you can go and raise venture capital, but your return profile and your journey to that is just very different to building a software business, right? It's like basically you do loads of R&D, you crack it, you sell. And it's like, and that's what you do, right? As in you've solved this problem, you've got a thing, you go out and sell the hell out of it, and hopefully you make a load of money. That's not the journey for a software business, right? Like, and so we acknowledge that there are different profiles. I think it's just that, like, we don't, like I said, it's all called venture capital, so we all think of it like it's one big thing.
I think, and that's the great thing about Hiro Capital is that they're outwardly speaking about going out and like putting themselves in that bucket that not necessarily is always like a focus for European funds, which is great. And almost like I mean you touched on like pension funds, but there's more talk about pension funds becoming riskier in terms of their risk appetite. Like that's obviously I think a great thing, ensuring that the UK everyone's UK pensions are kind of going into the venture capital space is also a great thing. Do you think Hiro Capital's like news kind of like helps with that narrative, or are they just completely unrelated?
No, I mean, look, I think the more that people like, ultimately it's about identifying perceived gaps in the market where return is available and then trying to fill them, and hopefully like capital allocators will recognize that, and then the returns will show it's worth putting the money in, right? Like it's like the sort of oldest story of capitalism. I think like when it comes to the sort of pension fund and wider capital allocation questions, like this is where it's contingent on us, I think, and hopefully these sort of stories play into it, to tell a story of returns and of value. And I think it's actually where increasingly we're seeing from the European technology ecosystem that these returns are coming to fruition in a way that justifies the investments that some of these capital allocators who were ahead of the curve in doing so have succeeded in doing. But there's still such a long way to go. So we have our own pension scheme at the Startup Coalition for our staff, and I went into my own pension quite recently. And so when you ever look at the risk profile of your pension, I don't know whether you guys got a pension scheme yet set up at ETN. Maybe this is one for
No,
but if you go in and do it, right, and you can kind of choose to have different risk profiles. For
Yeah.
Sort of like it's fairly simple. And then when you look at the actual returns, the one that does the best by an awfully long way is the Sharia compliant fund. Right, isn't it's like, and this is the case because if in Islam, like you can't do bonds and basically like interest-based investment, so it's virtually all in equities.
So you have
right?
to do equities. Oh no way, that's so cool.
The returns of the Sharia fund, even like the high risk fund, the returns are like less than half what the Sharia fund is. Right,
no way.
So my pension is now in the Sharia pension. I'm very happily having these, but yeah, it's just almost like these things about what. The difference between the high risk fund and the normal fund was like minimal, and then the difference between that and the other one was like massive, right?
Why? Because but why? So, why is high risk not all, if not 95% equities? Why is that not like?
And I think that's the challenge.
Why are we bucketing high risk as high risk when it's not that high risk?
Thing, again, it's almost, and I think this is what becomes tricky is when we talk about risk, like what do we really mean? There was a story in the UK about the universities fund, the University USS, which is one of the big pension schemes, and they kind of had pretty feeble returns. Now, some of that is they've fulfilled their obligations to their pension holders, so scheme members, so they don't care. But basically, they'd lost loads of money on a big private equity investment in like Thames Water, lost loads of money because that's basically gone to zero.
Serious debt.
And that would have been, and yet utilities in the United Kingdom, everyone needs water, right? That would be perceived as a pretty low risk investment, but it turns out that it wasn't, right? Like, do you know what I mean? So yeah, it's funny. I don't know. It's almost like definitions, isn't it?
Yeah, that is nuts.
We are unfortunately coming on time.
We're coming on time. Is there anything else you want to
we're having a blast to our right conversation? Now. I don't need to go anywhere, Dom.
Yeah,
I was going to say now we've gone from I thought I was coming on to discuss venture capital maneuvering, so we ended up talking about Sharia pension funds. So we've got like the whole audience is like, I'm done with these guys. This is what we've got.
Yeah, it's usually how it goes with us. It's so funny. Like you were one of the first guests we had on actually, but one of the first ones was with Victor over at Synthesia, and we remember the Synthesia team. We were kind of prepping with them, like, we were saying, we'd love to talk about some of the products, and I think there was a raise as well, maybe. And we spent the whole thing talking about like EDM music and him playing like strategy games when he was a kid. We
just went down a rabbit hole and didn't go out. It's always good fun.
Yeah.
Oh well, no, guys, it's a pleasure to be on as always. I really appreciate chatting with you guys.
Good stuff, Dom. As always.
It.
Thanks.
Nice one.
We'll see you soon.
Thanks, Dom. Dom Hallis, ladies and gentlemen.
The beast, the legend.
Always good to hang out with Dom.
Indeed. Spectre, be the reason your fund wins the deal of the decade. Go to tryspectre.com. Harness the power of live data and AI-driven analysis to outsmart the competition and make confident decisions in private markets. Go to tryspectre.com.
That's private market insights. That little ticker you see at the bottom, the Chiron. Down there.
Just down there.
That is from Spectre. You can do all sorts on Spectre. Luke and I use Spectre all the time. You can see where, this person's just gone into stealth. What are they building?
What are they building?
What are they raising? Nick Clegg might jump into your DMs if you.
You never.
I wonder if Nick Clegg uses Spectre now.
I don't know. We can ping Nick and
message to Nick. Yeah, we'll have to get our people on it.
Yeah,
get our people to message Nick. Go to spectre.com, Nick.
It's tryspectre.com.
For Hiro. You don't want Hiro to, miss the deal of the decade.
Yeah, what are you doing?
Nick,
you got to get on
Be the reason your fund wins the deal of the decade.
Be the reason Hiro wins the deal of the decade. Before we have Tom at Seed Camp on, can we jump into just a quick one? This is quite a funny one. I literally just saw this again, and I don't think we put it in the show notes. On the coffee cups on the X posts, we've got a minute to go through.
Yes.
And then we can go through tweets throughout guests. We basically just got a massive roster of guests now, which is going to be fun. Fun times.
Yeah, what did you want to... you want us to do the coffee cups?
Go to coffee cups. This is great. So we had Mads on as we were talking about Mads before, but
This is
a great design.
Way more impactful than AI, and it's a cigarette in a cup. We love that.
Tomorrow Lab.
Look, without any further ado, we
Anyway.
have Tom coming into the studio.
Tom, can you hear us? Good stuff.
Amazing.
Are we
amazing news?
Marcus, are we live? We're
We're
just waiting for our
checking
producer.
with our producer, so our viewers and listeners at home can see you, but Tom, we can see you and we can hear you, which is great news. We've been pumped about this. We, for the viewers and listeners at home, Tom Wilson, partner at Seed Camp.
Oh, you're live.
Portfolio. Oh, we're live now. Amazing. For the viewers at home, within Seed Camp's portfolio, we've got Wise, Revolut, UiPath, Synthesia, Pleo. I also found out that you're a raving Newcastle fan, Tom, as well.
Yeah.
But thank you for joining us. Thank you for being here. We usually start by asking guests to maybe introduce them, what their role is, what they're sort of focused on at the moment, and then and we jump into it from there.
Brilliant. Well, thanks so much for having me. Yeah, it's really excited to be here. Love what you're doing with the show. So obviously, great intro there in terms of like some of the companies in our portfolio. But I'm a partner at Seed Camp. Obviously, Seed Camp, we've been going since 2007, so it makes us one of the oldest seed funds in Europe. It definitely kind of investing as early as we have, kind of in an institutional fashion. And for those who aren't familiar with kind of our model, we're looking to back European founders, so from all across the continent, who are looking to build global businesses and invest in them at the earliest stage and support them, throughout their kind of like life cycle. From me personally, I've been at Seedcamp for 11 years, actually 11 and a half years. So for quite a while. So joined in kind of 2014 when we raised what was Seedcamp Fund 3, but was still a very, very small fund. It was probably what would pass as almost like a big seed round now. So it's like a 20 million euro fund. And that was a lot of fun to invest, because that was the fund which we invested in Revolut, UiPath, Pleo, a bunch of other companies. So it'll be one of the best performing kind of venture funds in Europe of that kind of vintage. And then fast forward to today, we're investing Fund 6 currently. It's a $180 million fund. We're a couple of years into that. We'll have Fund 7 online this year. And the mission has been the same throughout that time. It's just the numbers have changed a little bit as a reflection of, how good the European ecosystem is now and how much it's grown.
What's the difference, first of all, from when you first started at Seedcamp to now in terms of like the ecosystem? Like, is there an energy now that people are talking about?
Yeah, I mean, 100%. I mean, there's so many differences, right? I mean, like from a economics perspective, in terms of what we're investing, we're investing 25,000 euro, 50,000 euro checks then for kind of 5-10% of a company. So that has changed dramatically.
That's wild.
But in terms of the energy, it's a great question. I think there's just obviously just a lot more confidence now that it works. I think Seedcamp, when it started out in 2007, obviously before I joined, was very much like an experiment to see if there was something to invest in technology that early in Europe. Because it was the same time as like YC was starting out in the States, but obviously there was some more proof points around that. And I think one of the things that we've always held true to the thesis of how we invest is this idea that Europe can create its own kind of flywheel. And now we've obviously seen that, right? You listed some of the companies in our portfolio, the likes of Revolut, Synthesia, and Wise, and many others that have now a kind of alumni of founders who've come out of those and set up amazing businesses or become phenomenal investors or angels in the ecosystem. And so we're just seeing that increase. And the companies which we are privileged to get access to now, that the brand is so strong, the vast majority of those founders have been exposed to that kind of journey, whether it's as an early employee or a founder themselves, which has gone on to raise money. So I think the ecosystem is just so much richer with that experience. And also now you've got founders who are even more confident to build, really, really true global businesses that are kind of category defining businesses. That's what we're looking for. Because whilst, Europe is where we obviously source the investments we invest in, we want founders who are building global businesses from Europe. And we're seeing great examples of that now.
Yeah, definitely. We had was it Nick at Backed VC? They just raised their fund 2 or 3. I think it was backed, and he was saying that everyone that they backed, or a lot of the founders that they backed in Fund 1, they're now like either rebacking on their next company or they're putting on follow-on rounds, and it just kind of like accelerates everything. And it's like, as you said, a flywheel of, you start slow, but give it kind of 5, 10, 15 years, it just really accelerates stuff because you've just got, more people doing and seeing great things, right? That's like the biggest thing. I wanted to ask, specifically being a European fund, what's like the thing that is, I guess, you think is like moving the needle? We talk a lot about people talking about things happening in Europe and all of that kind of stuff. What do you think is like the thing that is moving that needle the most?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question. I think in terms of what's moving the needle the most, I think definitely that flywheel, which I mentioned before, around companies who, people who have been through maybe that startup journey before, gone from like raising venture capital, like going down a kind of hyperscaling route, and then there's an exit event, which means that there's liquidity, which those people then come back into the market as investors or as angels or founding companies again. So I think we're just seeing that. We saw that early generation maybe 5 years ago or something, but it's just increasing. It's kind of a compounding flywheel because it gets stronger and stronger. And the rate now that Europe's creating these hyper-growth companies, unicorns, whatever you want to call them, means that that's continuing to increase. So that gives, like, that's a real advantage. That's something that's kind of going to compound and get better over time. And I feel like we're really privileged to kind of sit in the middle of that and have great exposure to it. I think that also, that's not unique to companies which are founded and stay in Europe. A lot of people are building those businesses which are over in the States and then maybe coming back to Europe. So bringing some of that expertise, which they've seen firsthand, working out some of those companies, which, are household names on the West Coast, and then coming back and setting up businesses here for whatever reason. And I think that the scale of like how people are thinking kind of from an ambition perspective is also influenced probably by, just looking at all of the biggest companies in the world are technology companies, right? I think you could say that and I don't think that's going to change. I think if anything, that's probably going to get even more like the scope of companies in the future, which has started today, nothing's probably not going to be like a technology company. And so the ambition for people is kind of limitless. And then I think that the interesting thing when you map that to Europe is people in Europe potentially have the ability to think a little bit more internationally earlier on in their journey, because they have to, right? I don't know, the UK is just not big enough to support the kind of scale of outcome that we would want as a fund, and that most venture capitalists would want. And so that's, in the UK is probably one of the biggest economies in Europe. But if you're coming from any other area, obviously we invest in kind of Central Eastern Europe, Southern Europe, like the Nordics, immediately like that international mindset is kind of in the DNA from day one. And I think that plus examples of companies which have done that from those regions just supports an ability for European founders to go global even quicker. Whether that means going to the US earlier is a kind of open conversation, right? And, we want the companies to go wherever they need to go to maximize their potential. Exactly. But I think in terms of the scope of the ambition of the talent, I think it's fantastic in Europe.
I love that, like you say, you word that, because it's somewhat similar to a conversation we had with, but from a different angle, which is I think even better, with Martin Mignot over at Index, when I think they launched the book, but maybe it was titled Thinking Global. I can't exactly remember, but he was giving examples from like the Revolut days where purely because if you look at a new region, maybe you're in the UK and you want to set up an office in Poland or something like that, and launch Revolut it there. It's literally a new market. It's literally a new way of like there'll be different sort of like processes and people functions and like laws around what you can do and you can't do and like growth functions, and also it's like launching a new company almost. So he was giving that as an example of how it pre-trains European founders are kind of pre-trained on these like expansion plans, on making the product global from day one. and it's almost like in a weird way an advantage. It could be seen as a disadvantage in a way, but the fact that you're getting this prep prior to doing it means that you're not going out there making a mistake first, and then you're prepping from day one. So that's really cool to hear. Just going back a little bit, so that European flywheel moment, I was watching your talk at the EUVC summit that was a couple of months ago, and you were showing you had a presentation going on essentially, and I noticed on the whiteboard of your presentation there was a note that said that there was a stat in the top right corner of the whiteboard that said 50 plus current C-suite members of Seed Camp's portfolio had previously worked at another Seed Camp company. Which I thought was nuts. So I wanted to ask you about that and hear more about it.
Yeah, I love the attention to detail in the kind of like the prep. That stat is a mouthful. I think I probably got it wrong on stage when I said it out loud. So well done for kind of remembering 50 of kind of C-suite. It's a bit of
it was like
isn't it?
Sorry, go on.
We think through a lot, like, you know, that kind of flywheel I mentioned there obviously is happening across the industry, the ecosystem as a whole. And I think that because of the way we invest in particular, you know, we've got a portfolio now of over 550 companies that we've backed. You know, some of those are names which we mentioned here. Some are kind of scaling, you know, a few steps earlier in that journey. Obviously, some have long gone and failed by now. But you have this kind of almost mini flywheel and network which is within just the portfolio. And that's what that kind of stat is talking about. It's talking about that we think that when we back companies, we can give them kind of a bit of an unfair advantage by plugging them into that kind of Seed Camp nation of other companies, people who've worked there, other execs who've maybe been at businesses at different stages and then are looking for their new thing. And so that, from a sourcing perspective, obviously people who have worked and then are setting up new companies. And so it's not only are we, and I mean, the thing for us is obviously we can't just kind of rest on the laurels or whatever the kind of way of describing it is of just doing that for the Seed Camp portfolio, but it is the lower hanging fruit. You know, if it's a exec from Revolut setting up a new business, then we would definitely want to be looking at that and seeing that. And I think that that's an advantage that we have. But equally, you know, we need to be looking, you know, outside of that immediate group, because there is unbelievable talent in companies that we didn't invest in that are, you know, founding businesses around Europe, and they've got that experience as well. But that's what that's looking at. It's kind of like almost like an internal version of the flywheel, which we described, which is kind of existing across the whole European ecosystem at the moment. Yeah,
that's so awesome. And I think the with the flywheel thing as well, like as you say, it is kind of compounding now. I think of I think of Victor at Synthesia. I think of Max at Legora.
I mean, you've got that like Revolut mafia is like a thing. Like that is just a thing.
And like we're starting to see more of these sort of mafias from European businesses, which is excellent. And I think of like the work that Anton has done, being such a sort of forward-facing founder from like a marketing perspective. It's very inspiring. I can't, I can't imagine. I've not spoke to someone specifically about this, but I can't imagine what he's done for the younger generation of sort of like technical people around Stockholm. So I think it's a brilliant
I think just generally as a whole, right? I mean, I think that it's a really good point to bring up. You know, a lot of the most, you know, we're seeing probably in this, I describe it kind of like AI era that we're you know firmly within, and you know everything is so interrelated that and it goes to kind of ambition, it goes to the kind of background of founders. You know, it is skewing potentially to people who are a bit younger and a bit kind of like more, but they're probably influenced in seeing people going and doing things earlier in their career, and they're thinking, wow, I can do that already. Like I thought I needed to go and get this amount of experience before I could possibly set up a business, which, you know, even 4, 5, 6 years ago was probably the norm. And, you know, there's still people who have that, and which can potentially be even better, but also people who are coming at it with a kind of first principles thinking, who are just hyper smart, you know, incredibly driven, and have that kind of entrepreneurial edge to them. They can achieve amazing things with the era we're going into, with where technology is. And there's probably an increasing openness from Europe to back those kind of founders. I think we've always been fortunate in the fact that our kind of investment approach, we invest in slightly more companies per year than at some other seed funds. We can take some of those outlier risks on, founders that might spike in one area versus being fully rounded everywhere. And I think that gives us an edge, because that means that, and I think that's something we're constantly kind of challenging ourselves on to make sure that we're thinking in that way, because, some of the founders that are building some of these unbelievable companies, which are growing at like astronomical rates, probably look very different than the founders that we were typically looking for when I started in venture 11 years ago. And so I think that's an interesting kind of like thing that we're seeing across like the talent of people building companies.
Yeah, it's kind of like that mental model, and we talk about it a lot, where you almost like, it's almost like a mental thing of proving, oh, like that can be, like I can do that. I didn't even know I could, like you don't know what you don't know. And therefore, when someone else goes and does it, is like a perfect example of, oh, I can do that. And then again, the flywheel, as we keep talking about, but it's like, then someone else does it, and then that becomes another example to someone else, and it just kind of like exponentially expands the reach of something happening, which is really exciting. I wanted to like jump into like the future then of Seed Camp and where you guys are specifically looking and interested about in Europe, but also just like general like venture, like what does 2026 kind of like bring focus wise, but then also like the next 10 years of building European companies globally.
Yeah. I mean, I think as an early stage investor, you always have to be optimistic, and I think incredibly optimistic / excited really about 2026. I think it's not just for European tech, I think for like global tech, but I think Europe has a really, strong like potential for this year. I think that the kind of, obviously we spoke about, some of the kind of themes around AI, but I think that we're now moving towards AI being more kind of pervasive across kind of everything, right? Like every kind of like company that we look at has a story around AI, and it's not necessarily around kind of it being an AI company. It's just how is it solving those problems even better using the underlying technology. And I think that that's the stuff that we're probably really, really excited about. Obviously, there's so much written about kind of like agentic systems, but I think that this is probably the year where we start to see more breakthroughs around that. And those breakthroughs are probably going to start with what they kind of are at the moment, like more simplistic processes, which are automated close to end to end, versus the kind of co-pilot-ish space that we're probably in at the moment, to then potentially, end-to-end processes of things which are incredibly complex and hard, which us as humans just haven't thought to do in a similar way. And you can lead to completely different outcomes. And that's probably where it gets towards the more like deeper tech, where AI is meeting kind of scientific processes, which I think is a fascinating space. And I think that kind of area is also something that, we as in Europe have a potential advantage over, just because we've got, some of the best kind of like research universities in the world, and, a number of those just in the UK itself. So I think that agentic as a theme is obviously not going away. I think there'll probably be bumps along the road where enterprises buy a load of this stuff and it doesn't quite do what they want it to do. But I think that as a general theme, we're moving obviously towards smarter kind of like versions of AI generally, and then the ability for that to start to do more of the work. And I think that's where it gets really exciting, because that's where it's like, the numbers that we've all grown up with around kind of software as a service start to move to like software doing the service, doing the work. You mentioned about like Allegora or companies in, the legal tech space and stuff like that. I think that's a really clear example of where that can start to eat into more of the kind of actual work. And I think that trend's probably going to continue this year. And then as you move forward 10 years, I think it's more into like harder autonomous processes, which are probably in physical environments, right? We've done a lot of investing in robotics, which I think is in that kind of that vein. And the robotic processes which are possible now are fairly, simplistic, kind of, multiple things which are happening in a very repeatable process. But going forward, when that intelligence level improves, you've got even more multimodal inputs and outputs, then it starts to get like sci-fi, right? If we start to think 10 years in the future, we're probably going going to be designing a new episode of Black Mirror or the ETN sci-fi spin-off. But that's fun, right?
That's we'll be
that's
floating in like little
job.
chairs or something like that.
Yeah, we'd love to do that.
I mean, Black Mirror is there's like memes about Black Mirror obviously like being like a great venture investor because it keeps like
there was something that was there was an episode on the recent show where, well, one is like ads in your brain, which is like I guess a Neuralink spin-off perhaps, but the other one was the betting, like you can what was it, like if I hurt myself on camera or something, like you can bet that I'm gonna or I can make money through. So someone launched this thing where it's like you jump on this server, there's loads of people there and they can pay you to do things. And it was just like, why is this like? And I think I saw someone ridiculous fund it. I can't remember what it was. It was ridiculous. Closing question, just before you go. You're also the host of the Super Angel podcast as well. You
fellow podcaster.
I want to. Well, we're amateurs. We have no background in media, so we're still learning how to do this, as you can tell. But just a quick one. Who's like the best angel investor in Europe that you've like maybe spoke to, or who do you think?
It's a tough question.
And maybe that's a tough one. Maybe
that is a hard one. Who's the best angel investor in Europe? I probably should have that to the kind of on my fingertips. But look, I mean, I think that I'm going to go very political here and say I mean the angel market. I mean that the origin of that podcast, which to be honest, me and Anthony Danan, who's a solo GP, we haven't done as much recently, so I don't know if we're going to bring it back or not. You know, there's so much good media in tech out there now. It's hard to compete, right, with you guys and stuff. But
too kind.
I think that the origin of it was just to kind of shine light on more people in angel investing, because obviously you've got in the kind of venture world generally, you know, this is kind of our job, right? We're out there to be hopefully accessible. Like any founder should be able to get access to Seedcamp. You can go on a website. You can hopefully figure out our emails. Mine is tom@seedcamp.com. So feel free to email me over.
Just a quick plug there.
It's what we do.
That's £10, please.
So we're kind of fully available, right? That's our job, to meet founders. Whereas I think with angel investors, it is a kind of hard to access where they're coming from. So yeah, I think that in terms of the best angel investor, I don't know. I can't necessarily say one. I think that what I will say is I think angel investors are an incredibly important ecosystem, and actually the right angel investors aren't necessarily the people who are writing the biggest check. They can be smaller in size, but they can have a huge like impact on cap tables, and that's why actually when we invest, we almost always bring angel investors alongside us. So if you're an angel investor listening, also feel free to email me.
You know the email.
Because I think they play a massive part in the ecosystem.
Yeah,
that's
100%.
Awesome.
Good answer. Good
Tom,
answer.
thank you so much for sitting down with us today. It's been an absolute, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much, mate.
Of course. Hopefully we can do it again soon. But
for sure.
It's an open seat, mate.
Cool. Good stuff.
Thanks.
Great to meet you.
Have a good one. Cheers.
Bye.
Awesome stuff.
Amazing.
First Seedcamp guest on.
First Seedcamp guest on.
Yeah, I was speaking to Will Bennett the other day.
That was a great conversation.
Like, how have we not had anyone from Seedcamp on? I was just like, mate, we're ready. Open seat.
Open seed.
Plant the seed today. We're ready.
Plant that seed. Polymarket, the world's largest prediction market. Stay informed and profit from your knowledge. Go to polymarket.com. Yeah, they deserve the trumpets.
They deserve the trumpets.
They deserve trumpets.
They deserve trumpets.
Anyway, 7 minutes until we have our next guest on, Ria Grover. She is the CEO and founder of Sequence. They've just done a $20 million Series A. Nuts company, killer founder, killer company. It's going to be cool.
Led by 645 Ventures alongside A16Z to build AI first revenue automation for B2B finance teams.
Mega. They have like
cool
Cognition on the
Bridge, Lagora, Runway, Cognition,
Instant.io.
Instant.io as well.
Favorite.
Shout out to Stephen.
Yeah, shout out to Stephen and Zane, the big man. Thank you very much.
Bringer of t-shirts. Shout out to you.
I'll get your cap soon, Zane.
Cool thing. We still owe Zane a cap, don't we? I've got loads in my bag actually because we're doing a secret trade deal today.
Trade deal is happening at some point today.
We cannot tell you where yet, but it will be...
Put it in the comments if you want to guess.
It will be revealed or will be revealed soon. I just remembered now how funny was it when I messed up my she sells Seashells by the seashore.
Oh, it's like she.
I got it so wrong. I couldn't have got that more wrong.
Crumbled under the pressure, dude.
No, that was
serious crumbling.
You're just live and direct, just messing up my she sells. I can't even do it.
She sells seashells on the seashore.
Seashells on the seashore. Yes. Okay. I got it. At least we've got one in the bank there. To get done. Right. So as we said, up next is Hiro Grover, founder and CEO of Sequence. We'll be discussing the recent raise. There's also a really cool quote that I found. I think it was from a previous interview that I'm going to ask Hiro about. But if you know what Feeder is, Feeder was also acquired for 24 million from Compass Group. We have Hiro with us now.
Yeah,
Marcus, can we bring Hiro into the live chat?
Hiro, you're live. Can you hear us?
Yeah, nice to be here.
Yes.
Hey guys.
Hiro, how are you?
Likewise.
So I was looking down at my laptop and I didn't see you on our screen. You were in the waiting room. That's very rude of me. How are you?
No, I was enjoying watching you both.
Yeah, we were doing
talking rubbish as usual.
It's just absolute gibberish, that, wasn't it? Sorry, you had to see us do our she sells seashells by the seashore. There, I've got it. I've nailed it now. It's all fine. Anyway, on to Sequence. Hiro, we've been super excited to talk to you. You and I spoke before the holidays, so it's great to get this in. We've just done a small intro that you probably heard, but maybe for the guests at home, if you can tell us a bit more about who you are, what do you do, and what is Sequence?
Yeah, and firstly, thanks so much for having me on. Big fan of the show. So Hiro Grover, co-founder and CEO at Sequence. Sequence is a team for a company for finance teams to automate revenue operations. So all the kind of revenue workflows that exist across quote to cash, taking contract data, automating billing, invoicing, chasing up unpaid invoices, kind of managing receivables, revenue recognition, really kind of everything that pertains to kind of understanding, tracking, and collecting revenue in a B2B business. Sequence is building this next generation platform that really leverages agentic and AI-based automation to turn what used to be kind of very manual workflows, tons of days to get invoices out of the door, to bill accurately against the things that sales teams are signing, into something that is much more kind of streamlined workflow automation, and ultimately goes from being a process which is reactive, where finance teams are, reacting to the things coming in, to one that is really proactive, where, your revenue insights are being surfaced, the things that you need to do are being done for you. And I think for me personally, that is where all enterprise software is going, from being, databases that are reactive and humans have to kind of conduct all of these tasks manually, to systems that are really intelligent and proactive.
That's awesome. And I read that you guys, so you've raised $38 million total, so far, and your ARR grew 10 times in 2025, which is pretty nuts.
Let's go. Can we play the money noise for that?
There we go. Can you hear that?
Can you hear that, Hiro? We're playing like a tune. If you can hear it, you can't hear it.
Can't hear
I
that.
can hear it.
Oh, you can't. Well, I can hear it really loud in my ears.
I can't quite make out what it is though.
It's a money noise.
A money noise
for the revenue growth. So congrats. That's awesome.
Congrats to that. I wanted to ask about your experience. 10x growth in a year is pretty wild.
That's nuts.
How was that experience? I bet it was a busy year.
Yeah, I mean, it's just amazing to see a bunch of really talented, really motivated team members come together, and everybody pushing hard on all fronts, and I guess driving each other to grow. There's nothing better than when you sign a great customer and you get a great company on board, but that then drives how we think about sort of a product strategy, and drives the engineering team to be really excited to build with these new customers that get on board. And there's this really beautiful kind of viral loop that happens within a business, where kind of every team is fueling each other. I think, also, we spent a couple of years building really strong product foundations, and really kind of only launched our product suite in mid 2024 to sort of see that growth and really find that strong product market fit in 2025 was amazing. And then obviously culminating that with the Series A at the end of the year.
Yeah, so cool, and yeah, massive congrats, because this is
what a year.
Yeah, what an absolute massive year. Speaking of customers, Incident.io, Bridge, Lagora, Runway, Cognition.
And probably hundreds more that we haven't.
And probably a load more that we're not including. But like, walk us through. I mean, how these are massive logos. These are absolutely huge.
Is
logos.
this inbound or is this outbound? What's the function?
This is just awesome.
Yeah,
to see.
like
That's what it is.
a mix of both. I mean, outbound certainly has been a very core part of our growth strategy. But what's great is a lot of our customers have referred other customers. Some of the names that you mentioned have come in because, one of them have sent out a quote or an invoice and seen Sequence on it, or somebody in the team has referred us to another company. So definitely kind of a healthy mix. And yeah, I mean, for me, it's awesome to be working with these incredible teams who we respect massively. Like, we love the businesses that they're building, and we're sort of the engine on which they power their revenue collection. And so we're really just kind of very fundamental part of their tech stack, which is, like super humbling for me as well as a founder. And I think what's been really interesting to see is that, all of these businesses, obviously very different business models and pricing models, but often like they come to us for the same reason, which is they're B2B, they have custom pricing, pricing varies across their contracts. And I think we're the only company out there that really has the flexibility in pricing and billing to say we can meet companies where they are. They don't have to flex how they price around some rigid billing system. They can come to us with their contracts as they sign them, and we can really translate that into automated downstream revenue workflows. And that's really powerful, kind of bridging that sort of workflow and dynamic between sales and finance teams, giving them that sort of synchronous set of data.
When you started Sequence, was that the thing that you wanted to do from kind of the offset, or was that a thing that you kind of like iterated into, and when that happened, it was like product market fit, kind of like right there?
Yeah.
Like what is the founding story, I guess, of that key thing that you provide?
Yeah, it's definitely something we iterated into. It's not the thing that we hypothesized and set out to build right at the beginning, but I think that is really the story of most kind of great businesses, which is that, you can have a hypothesis about a market and kind of start talking to customers and actually uncover pain points and problems that you didn't necessarily realize existed. And I think, we saw this pain point with a lot of the companies that we were speaking to, and started investigating the market. And actually both me and my co-founder, Eamon, had founded and built software companies previously. And actually had this same problem. We saw it as we started doing research into the market. But it's true that if you're a B2B business, your option set to automate revenue with some of these like legacy V1 cloud era subscription management players, where they were really built around this notion of very simple recurring SaaS subscriptions. And then, things like Stripe, which are great, but really designed for sort of PLG, self-serve, very kind of, again, very simple sort of billing scenarios. So who was servicing the broad swathe of B2B companies who have custom pricing, mix of seat-based, usage-based, and other contract terms that they deploy. And we started seeing how kind of common this problem was across so many different segments, and thought there was an incredible opportunity to build a category leader here. And I mean, the other interesting thing as well is I think as a business, more so today than ever before, you are constantly in a state of evolution. We started building the product kind of pre-LLM era, and then all of a sudden the world changed dramatically overnight. And that actually presented an incredible opportunity for us, where we thought about, to this point of how can you build a more intelligent, proactive system. There's a huge opportunity for agents to kind of come into some of these workflows to take context signals and to automate some of these things that finance teams are doing in a totally new way. And we leaned into that very strongly. One of the things, we think about that is that in finance, a lot of these workflows have to be human in the loop. You need 100% deterministic outcomes. Everything has to be accurate. And so agents are not only helping to drive efficiency, they're also helping to, surface things so things aren't missed, or to drive greater precision in outcomes. And for us, designing that kind of human in the loop experience and workflows kind of with agents operating alongside humans as sort of co-pilots in the system has been really, really fun, and has driven our product in a direction that we probably never expected it to go in the very early days.
That's awesome. Yeah, the human in the loop thing's an interesting, wasn't it? Because everyone's kind of, I don't know, kind of hoping for the day that we get to a point where it can maybe just be like completely, like you can almost just ignore it, right? Set the agent on a path and it just does what you need it to do. But in an environment like finance, it's kind of, you don't really, it's a little bit more scary, right? Like it's same with maybe like law or like health tech. Like the stakes are a little bit higher. Like you're playing with like very secure documents.
But I think that's yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you think about most of these workflows, we have an agent that pulls in sales contracts, will extract the terms and automatically create a billing subscription. Like, teams want to review that before that kind of goes and automates and sends out invoices. When we have an agent kind of following up on unpaid invoices, there are always nuances where you want some human judgment in some cases. So that kind of exception handling, or where kind of additional context is needed, an agent can kind of loop in a person, or share the context, maybe pre-draft something, but let the human take that final kind of send. And I think it's really it's challenging from a UX perspective to do that really well. People want automation, they want full oversight and audit trails on what an agent is doing, and there needs to be in tandem with that a really seamless way for agents to kind of interact with humans in these processes. But I think that's where a company and a product can differentiate as well.
Yeah. You mentioned your previous company, Feeder, I believe it is. And you've mentioned before that that journey was like more driven by like raw naivety. But with Sequence, you're like aiming for like $1 billion category leader. I want to like understand, maybe deep dive a little bit more about like how you have changed as a founder. What's the difference between, I don't know if Feeder was your first company, but what's the difference between an earlier company and your first company to now building a company that you feel like is like a generational thing that you want to like define your career, I guess.
Yeah. But by the way, for the viewers, Feeder was also acquired for 24 million.
It's a big company.
That's like a naive journey that ended in a great exit as well. So like, it's not. Yeah.
Not so naive
have to stress
anymore.
That, yeah.
Well, I think like one thing's consistent across both. Like you need like maybe some naivety or like blind optimism in anything that you do, regardless of what it is. Keeps you going. And also like the hustle. The hustle was critical for us to achieve that outcome in the first business, and it's like no less critical today. How have I changed as a founder? So I think one is just that absolutely maniacal kind of approach to like keeping a really, really high talent bar, like attracting kind of top 1% talent, because I've just seen how that can drive such a difference in outcome for you as a business. And it's so easy to let that drop as you scale. It's so easy to compromise because, you're super stretched and you really need somebody on the ground doing something. But we've been really, really militant about not compromising there, right from kind of day one. One of the things we did actually when we were starting Sequence was we have some great angel investors on our cap table, people like Tom Blomfield, who started Monzo, and Des, who founded Intercom. So some incredible people who we hit up in the early days and said, give us your top 1% engineers who have now left those companies, but you would hire again in a heartbeat. And actually, if you ask people, people have those names top of mind and can share them with you. And you can very quickly actually make sure that you're reaching out to really highly referred great talent. And then if you can get those people in the door early, of course, the next people that they hire are also going to be consistent with that. So that's one thing that I think I think we've has probably changed between my time at Feeder and my time at Sequence. The other thing also, and I guess maybe this is also true because of the environment that we're building in, but kind of continually setting more and more ambitious bars for where our product goes. And there's this point of like, not resting on the fact that, this is what's going to take you to the next stage, but actually thinking a year or two ahead as to like where you're really trying to get to eventually, and almost working backwards from that. I would say with Feeder, it was kind of, we adapt as we go and we react as we go, versus now maybe having that end goal in mind and trying to work back from that. And I think if you can do that, that becomes an accelerant to you and the business.
Yeah, definitely. Where do you see Sequence going in the short term then? What's the focus for 2026?
So I guess one is, achieving, continuing on this kind of hyper scaling path. We found really strong product market fit, investing and growing our team to achieve that next milestone and retain the growth rate that we've achieved. But on the product side, I think for us, really kind of building into sort of the ability to spin for our customers to write much more custom revenue agents and workflows in the platform. That, so far we've thought about our agentic strategy as, we have a bunch of agents that companies can come in and embed, but we've largely thought about and sort of defined what those agents can do. As we go forward, we want to almost turn that into like a agent playground where companies can come and say, well, actually, this is specifically what I'm trying to do. I can write an agent to do that. And because we hold all of this proprietary data, every kind of data point on contracts, products, pricing, usage, revenue, you can actually really build very powerful automations within your business to leverage those data points to run things or to get insights on your business. So really kind of building into that agentic strategy and is one of the big goals for 2026.
That's awesome. I'd love to kind of shift the conversation a little bit, and it's about that. I think I'm not sure how often it gets discussed, but I've seen it recently come up a little bit. One is something you mentioned earlier, which is this is earlier on in the conversation, but it's the raw naivety thing. I think it was a quote from Jensen Huang where he's in an interview and someone asks him if you knew what you knew now, a 19-year-old you, how would you, how would you learn from what's happened, and how would you go ahead and build NVIDIA? And he says I wouldn't build it because I wouldn't want to know how hard it was to go through that. If any sane individual would be like, oh, no thanks, I don't want to do that. Yeah. And it's funny though, because you've gone through that stage with Feeder. You've done something incredibly hard. It's worked. There's been an exit to Compass Group, I believe it was in 2020, and you're like, hell yeah, I want to get back in the arena. I want to go again. And we see it so often with I guess these people who are serial founders. That we've spoke to people on Manny Medina is an example, founder of Outreach now Played. He said, I think his wife, he took a holiday. Well. Yeah, his wife called him and was like, what did she think? She was so pissed off because he told her he
took 2 weeks off, and then in those 2 weeks he was meant to not do anything, and then found what he's doing at Paid now. And then just really, really researched it over those 2 weeks, and his wife was like, "What the hell?"
And I see a similarity with you, where you come on, you've had this exit, it's gone very well, and now you're jumping back in the arena again with Sequence. What's that gap like? Because it's very rare that we get the opportunity to talk to someone who's actually gone through that. So maybe it's a selfish question, but I'd love to know. So this company one ends and it ends well. There's a gap here, and then there's Sequence. What's the mindset after that? Where do you go mentally, and how do you sort of prepare yourself to go again?
Yeah, I mean, when you're building something, it's you're so all in, and it's hard. In some ways, it's kind of an irrational decision to be a founder. If, as Jensen said, if you knew everything that you knew up front, it actually doesn't look very appealing in some ways. But there's also this incredible elixir and I don't know, addictiveness to doing it. It's so fun, and especially in the world we're in, you just get to work with super smart people. You're working on tough problems every day. Something new and unexpected is thrown at you, and you kind of have to figure out what to do with it. And you get to be highly creative in what you're doing, because kind of the world's your oyster. yeah, I loved it. And I, probably like every founder, I was like, I'll take a bit of a break. I'd actually just had our a second child as well, just after I'd sold the business. So I was like,
Awesome.
you know what, like, it's a good time. Let's take some time off. And then, you're sitting there twiddling your thumbs and actually thinking, all you can think about is business ideas and starting something, and you're itching to go, and it's maybe it's like an addiction or something. But it wasn't long. Like I couldn't wait to get back into something.
It's so weird how because we see it. It's such a common trait, right? Like I don't think
with the people we speak to on the podcast, yes, for sure.
It's very hard to stop playing the game because, and you can. I can't remember who said it, but like there's a quote that maybe it was Naval or something. But the only way to win the game is to stop playing the game because there's no sort of ceiling on where you can keep going and how many times. But I think that's the beautiful thing of the ecosystem, right? Like you can take unlimited swings.
And I think every time you achieve something, you find a new metric or a new kind of challenge to hit. And, for some people that's okay. I sold a business that was this large and now I'm going to, build the unicorn or the decacorn. For some people, it's actually, I've solved a business enterprise workflow problem. Now I'm going to go and solve climate or something that I really care about. Everybody kind of sets some new, milestone or goal that they want to achieve that has some distinct facet from the last thing that they did, and then that's what gets you out of bed every day to do that.
We were talking earlier about what was the stat where it's like was it 20% of unicorn founders weren't actually
I pulled
experts.
The number out of thin air.
Okay, whatever. But like there's a stat where it's like the amount of unicorn founders aren't actually experts in the field that they run the company that is a unicorn. What do you see that being is like all of your founder friends? Are they super specific and they have very expert that they're experts in their field and therefore building a company in that, or are they just like very good company builders that don't necessarily need to have the expertise? What's the kind of, is there a thing that's better or
honestly I think it's a mix, to be honest. I see in some domains, I think particularly for people who are kind of building engineering, like developer products or things geared towards engineering teams, I think often those businesses are best built by somebody who has been an engineer and who's experienced those pain points so acutely. I think certain industries like biotech and healthcare, where again, domain expertise really, really matters. There are so many nuances about those industries. I think it can be extremely helpful. And honestly, sometimes when I meet founders who have that, it's so powerful to see how deeply they understand those industries. But equally, I think nothing can I think that's maybe a nice to have. Nothing can substitute for the type of DNA you need in somebody to be able to build a successful company. And those traits, the grit, the never giving up, the way in which you can build a great team around you, motivate that team around you, like the way that you can take bets and risks and sit with them comfortably. Like these things ultimately, I think, are universal across founders who are successful. And so I think that's the non-negotiable. That's the more important trait or commonality maybe. And then you've got some founders who go from first principles and tackle problems where they don't have the domain expertise, which, by the way, actually can sometimes lead to more innovative outcomes because they're not grounded in a bunch of things you've seen before. But equally, I've also seen people who, really understand industries, have experienced a problem very firsthand, and they are super well placed to build in a domain. And so I don't think, I guess, domain knowledge isn't the primary requirement. Maybe it's nice to have, maybe it's a drawback, depending on the case. But there are some traits I think you see probably across most founders that is inherent to somebody's DNA. It's actually, I think, pretty hard to spot for. I've never sat on the other side of the table as an investor, but I imagine everybody comes in and is really hungry and motivated and tells a good story. And I wonder how VCs can dig deep enough to figure out, like, does somebody really have the grit and resilience to do this all the way through, and like, you know, with all the setbacks that are inevitably going to come. Because even when you speak to, like, or you see kind of founders like, you know, Ali from Databricks and others speak, like, what we see on the outside is this like great, you know, upward journey, but actually on the inside, like, there are so many hard moments and decisions, like, you know, consistently that had to be made. And the last thing I'll say on that, actually, Alex Rampell at A16Z did a great podcast where he was like, I think he said, or maybe it was a tweet, I think he said, like, you know, good CEOs will say that they achieve successful outcomes because of their strategy and their product vision and, you know, all of these other things. But it's just not true. Like, great CEOs will just say, I did it. I got through it. Like, I kept going, basically. Yeah. And that's the sort of defining hallmark of a great CEO.
So awesome. So
that's
cool.
Such a good take.
We're coming up to time, unfortunately. Just before we let you go, like, what do we have to look forward to from Sequence? Is there anything that you want to plug? Like, you know, where can we send people? How can people get in touch?
Yeah, I mean, if you are a company that has, you know, your finance team is feeling the pain of having to, you know, bill, invoice for custom contracts. Yeah, we're doing some really, really exciting things on the roadmap this year, like, you know, how companies can configure contracts in much smarter ways with pricing intelligence, how they can be on top of invoices and get those invoices out the door, you know, after close, you know, hours after close instead of days. Yeah, really kind of agents that sort of support work that finance teams were otherwise doing manually. I think, yeah, very excited about where the roadmap is going. You can find us at www.sequencehq.com, or feel free to drop me an email at ria@sequencehq.
Boom. Awesome. You heard it her first.
Awesome.
There you go.
Thank you, Ria. Thank you for coming on. Been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you so much for having me. This is awesome.
Good stuff.
Our
Great
pleasure.
to meet you.
Cheers for hanging out. Cheers, Ria.
Bye.
Awesome chat there from Ria Grover, CEO and founder of Sequence.
That was cool. I like that.
Reach out.
I really like that. Quick word from Airwallex. Leave outdated business banking behind with Airwallex, the all-in-one financial platform built for the pace of modern business, multi-currency accounts, corporate cards, expense management, online payments, all in one place. Go to airwallex.com. They're killing it. They gave us an F1 car.
They gave us this F1 car.
They did. Maybe they'll give you one too. You never know.
Maybe. They might do.
In 10 minutes, we have guest number 3.
James Wise, partner at Boulderton Chair of the UK government's Sovereign AI Unit.
Friend of the show. He's been on before. He always chats facts. He has his own podcast now, right?
Boulderton have a podcast.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not the James Wise show. He is doing most of the interviews.
Boulderton Technology Network.
I think, yeah, what would that be? Boulderton,
BTN.
Yes. So my brain's just not working today. I don't. Me and Luke were chatting last night, and I just said, mate, I need to just take 5 just for a quick break. My brain wasn't working. I went to the sauna, actually. It's quite nice. Yeah.
Huge.
Had a little sauna sesh.
Good on you. Should we go to Town Square?
Yeah, let's take a trip to the Town Square. You tried to fit a sneaky...
I fit a sneaky Town Square in earlier, just because I thought the picture was so good.
Guy was so eager to get into the Town Square.
Earlier.
HDMI. The HDMI came out when we were chatting to Ria, but I plugged it back in. Is that... You want to go again? Okay, cool. Sorry, guys.
Just 1 second.
You see, if I was with my family, my family at home, I'd be crowned
tech genius.
Yeah, like head of technical staff,
CTO of the Chambers family.
I love those memes so much. Those they're quite old memes. They're quite it's like a meme you'd see on Facebook in like 2017 maybe. But it's like, you know, how my parents see me when I changed it wasn't even the HDMI. It was the SCART plug. Do you remember the SCART plug? Like the massive one, the long.
Oh, like yeah, I know. Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, we've got James Wise coming on. We've got him in the waiting room, but we're having a problem with sharing.
James, we're having a few technical issues, which aren't your fault.
Yeah,
they're Ronan's.
Don't worry, they're my fault. Yeah, we were just talking. Where did those things go? You know, I thought
Not needed anymore.
I miss them. I miss
Some techie genius solved that problem.
They're gone. But we're just trying to bring you onto. We can see you, we can hear you, James. We're just waiting to get you onto our live view, so our viewers and listeners at home, and we're good to go.
James is live.
We are live on ETN. James, so good to have you back. And it looks like things have been heating up your side. How have you been?
Great. Yeah, it feels like the break was a long time ago. I've been to the US twice in the last 14 days.
Wow.
And kicking things off here very strong.
Nice. What was going down in the US?
Just work. We're new investments, board meetings, exits, all the usual fun stuff.
Oh, that's all the good stuff. But yeah, we don't want to give away all the alpha because maybe some other VCs will find out.
We'll steal it.
We had Dom Hallis on this morning. We were chatting about Nick Clegg and Hiro Capital and Jan Lee Kun as well. I'm not sure if you've seen that or you've had a look at it, but Luke and I are quite excited about it. We've
there's so many articles about Lan Yu.
Yeah, Sifted are going crazy on Jan Lee Kun. He's everywhere. He's all over Sifted.
And you will see, of course, that he was announced as a scientific advisor to prior labs.
Yes.
Portfolio companies.
Yeah, I saw. We previous guest of the show as well, Saraj. I saw it and couldn't believe it. That's the moment I was like, oh, he's everywhere. Like
he is literally everywhere.
He's in Berlin as well. Like he's. It's awesome to see, but we were chatting with Dom about that this morning. And any thoughts roughly? Hiro Capital, Nick Clegg, it seems like they've positioned a fund, 500 million, to target the valley of death, as it's been termed in Sifted, the European growth stage, I guess, which is coming from European-based funds. I'm not sure if it's aimed specifically for. It probably will be European-based companies. But any thoughts? Have you had a look at it at all?
I had breakfast with Nick Clegg just before Christmas to talk about his transition.
Standard procedure.
Of course.
I did too.
into venture. And I think he obviously had this incredible experience as, number 3 at Meta for a number of years. He's very passionate about building European successes and I think being involved in that. And, I think obviously while he was in Meta, he had this policy role, but inevitably when you're surrounded by, whether it's leadership like Mark Zuckerberg or it's researchers like Jan LeCun, it gets into your DNA. You live in San Francisco for a while, so the startup culture really seeps in. And so he certainly brought some of that across. I think he'll be focusing on some of the areas that he had direct exposure to while at Meta. And obviously the team at Hiro have got incredibly strong credentials in gaming and increasingly in sort of metaverse, if we still use that term. Yeah. And so, I think it's great to have more people, broad experiences coming into the venture world.
Yeah, absolutely. We think it's a great thing. We think there's a big. I was saying that maybe it's a big task in terms of it kind of not big. There's pressure because I think it has to go well. If it does go well, it can be a really great thing for just general growth stage funds potentially in Europe. Which maybe there might not be too much of.
It has to go well to keep money coming in, right? There's this flywheel effect that successes beget successes. That's really important. But I think it's worth celebrating any new capital coming in anyway, because hopefully it's deployed well. And if it's deployed well, that's great for everyone involved. But even a great venture fund will have loads of failures, right? It's the best venture funds ever. Have maybe 50% of the companies return the money or lose money, right? It's not really about that. It's about supporting the ecosystem, helping founders and engineers take risks, doing things which they couldn't do if they didn't have the capital, all those things. And so it's just great to have more money, more people in the ecosystem. I think it all over time, hopefully, keeps that flywheel spinning.
Absolutely.
100%.
Speaking about a booming ecosystem, we were reading about Boulderson in the FT recently. Another piece, or not another piece, but just another reminder of the success that was Revolut. Was that anything to do with you? How was the company feeling about that?
Well, I was involved. I've been at Boulderson for 13 years. So yeah, very fortunately involved in, what is looking like one of the most successful venture funds of all time, certainly one of the most successful venture funds of Europe. I think what's great about it is that this is front page news, right? They put it on the front page of the print edition of the FT. My understanding is hundreds of thousands of page views in the app and online. And obviously Revolut is a huge company, so any news about it, people find interesting, rightly so, because it's doing great things and will do more great things. But I think it's good to see these kind of successes championed more often, right?
Yeah. It's not as niche as it once was.
Yeah, I would say in my sort of 13, 14 years in venture, the number of front page news stories which have been positive about the European technology ecosystem are very rare. And you need to have scrutiny, and you need to have coverage of failures and mistakes. And obviously there's been some high profile over the years, there's been some high profile bad news stories, and that's fine. You need that, right? It's the point of journalism. Yeah. But it needs to be mixed in with sharing some of the successes. And so it's great to see it, and full credit to the FT for doing the work and putting the story out there.
Yeah, 100%. We agree. When we saw it, we couldn't wait to read it because it was really cool.
Well, when we did, we've got the plate, the Bolton 25th anniversary ceramic plate here that gets used. When we talk about Bolton,
we eat our croissants of it.
When I saw that, this was obviously last year, when I saw that one of the freebies people were getting was a ceramic, I was completely astonished that this was in the package, but clearly it's worked.
Because we asked you last time. We asked you last time when you were on the show. We said, "Oh, did you get a plate?" And you were like, "No, what plate? I didn't get a plate."
No.
Yeah, you didn't get one, and I somehow did. I remember I think I got a bit too drunk at the Bolton 25th party, but I remember when I was on the taxi back on my own. It was quite dark, and I was trying to open my bag, and I was wondering, like, it was so dark in the taxi that I opened it. I think maybe I was just drunk, but I couldn't even tell what it was until I got home because I couldn't shine a light on it, and I was feeling it with my hands, and I was like, "What the hell is this?"
What is that?
But it's a beautiful ceramic plate.
The plate made it all worth it, Ronan. It's getting so much airtime, that plate.
It is, yeah.
It is. It's a staple piece. It was on here really early.
Anyway,
enough about this plate.
I think we should move on to your recent announcement. Well, your announcement before this time you came on the show. Chair of the UK government's sovereign AI unit. Congratulations. That's
a real round of applause, not a sound bite.
Yeah. Congratulations. Actually, awesome news. Tell us about how that happened, why you feel like you I guess are gonna, or what you're gonna do in that position.
Well, what is the role? I'm not sure what it is, but I'd love to know more, and I'm sure our viewers would too.
Yeah, so I've got the rather grand title chair, but chair is something that's only just being set up. So it's not, it's inaugural chair. The role is to help set up the structure, team, and strategy for the Sovereign AI Unit. And So the Sovereign AI Unit was set up as part of the AI Opportunities Plan, the thing that Matt Clifford worked on with the government almost exactly a year ago, actually today, it was announced. And they've started putting some of that into action. We've got these growth zones to establish compute, some changes in legislation to make it easier to build AI companies, a lot of support for the Security Institute, who are doing good work as researchers and everything else to make sure AI is adopted safely. But the piece that Sovereign AI is doing, so there's all that good stuff happening. The piece that Sovereign AI is doing, and that I'm sort of trying to help with, is to accelerate AI success, right? So it's great we're doing all of this stuff. How do we make sure that the best AI companies, and these are commercial companies, right, not research, want to anchor in Britain? Doesn't mean they're going to have everyone here. Doesn't mean they have to be a UK top co or anything like that. We're just interested in how we make sure that in 10 years' time, when you look at some of the most successful AI companies in the world, they have an anchor in Britain. What can we do to enable that? The second piece is to make sure, if you look across the AI infrastructure stack, right, from electron to token, how do we make sure the UK has got resilience, that we're not entirely reliant on just one provider, for example, for everything, right? We want to, and how do we make sure we're constantly using the best out there? So working on the strategy for that, setting up the legal structure, setting up the structure of in government, making an independent unit, all of these kind of things is actually quite a heavy lift. So I've been working on that. We're now at the place where we're putting the team out there. So I published on LinkedIn a call for excellence. I want the best people in sort of the world, really. You can be from anywhere, to come and help run this fund. And we're operating it in part very much like a fund. So there's real cash on the table. We're investing hundreds of millions of pounds directly into the cap tables of great companies out there on commercial terms. And I need a managing partner to do that full time, and they'll probably have a couple of investing partners with them as well as all the other support that you need to run a fund. But on top of that, on top of just offering cash, we're also working with companies to make sure they have access to compute, they have access to data. Probably most importantly, we're going to be doing advanced market commitments. So we're going to say, look, if you come here and you're building something that we think is within the sort of sovereign remit of the UK, something that will benefit government and obviously, by which I mean all of us, right? All of the citizens of Britain and beyond, we'll commit to buy that from you, right? And if you hit these targets, we'll commit to buy it. And hopefully companies that are selling, whether it's novel compute, like new kinds of processors, or it's a new type of foundational model with a new modality, or it's something that's going to make computing more energy efficient, or anything in that remit, faster supply chains for robotics, whatever it is, we commit to buy those things. And then hopefully you can go out to the private sector and say, look, I've got a 8-figure, 9-figure order from the British government here. I want to raise some money. And kick off that kind of process. So we're going to be stimulating the market. We're going to be helping the UK ensure that we're resilient across the AI infrastructure stack. And I hope that all of this work means that in 5-10 years' time, this money gets returned and we make some money for the taxpayer for taking all this risk and doing all this work. So rather than just grants, we're going to get the money back and more. And secondly, there's an additional 5 to 10 leading AI companies which have a strong base in the UK.
Yeah, I mean, it's such an exciting time, I think, for the UK. A similar conversation we had with Kanishka when he came on. Like, we were talking about the developments that we have to look forward to, and there's a lot happening right now. And I think that I'm not sure
there's an increase in risk appetite. I feel, or there's an increase in people with a higher risk appetite, like having a direct impact from a government perspective.
Yeah, that's a great way.
Is that a great? Is that an okay take? Is that correct? Would you say?
Yeah, I think broadly that's true, right? And like there's, you can always. I think what we're a bit like we're talking about with the press earlier. You can pick holes in everything, right? You can say this isn't optimal. Why haven't we changed this? Why aren't we doing that? And you have to recognize there's always going to be challenges in anything you do. But let's focus on some of the areas we can make a real impact. We can't solve everything in one go. And the Sovereign AI Unit's a great example of that, right? Identify a series of levers you can pull: cash, compute, data, advanced market commitments. Build the right structure, hire the right team, and get it going. Ignore the noise, the doomers out there who are like, this doesn't work, that doesn't work. Be like, let's focus on what we can fix and let's go for it at full pelt. And I think that's a mindset shift. I naturally have that mindset shift or mindset, and I've noticed that more and more people in the ecosystem and in the government, to their credit, and the previous government as well, kicked a lot of this off, are trying. They really are.
That's so good. That's so nice to hear.
You mentioned the word like sovereignty, and I feel that like maybe in the past year and a half, 2 years, it's a thing that's coming up a lot more, specifically in tech. Why is that? Is this, people maybe could presume it would be that there's this sort of AI race right now. People are understanding how powerful it can be, and countries need domestic exposure to controlling some of that supply and having that, it's like the new energy or oil or something like that. You don't want to be the person who's getting everything from one person and be super exposed. But why? It seems maybe more than that as well. It seems like it's not just fixated on technology. Like, why are we all talking a lot more about sovereignty?
Yeah, look, I actually. Despite being chair of the Sovereign AI Unit, I don't want to overplay how important sovereignty is. Right?
You're not doing a good job.
What's important, I work at Balderson. I work with daily, like people from Europe and Britain, and entrepreneurs who want to make an impact globally, right? So, I don't think anyone should set out and say my goal is purely to serve the people of country X, right, or my own people, right? Obviously, what I hope is, both as a Brit and through my job and through the work I do with government, is that the British people as a whole benefit from this. But I hope the whole world benefits from progress in this technology that makes us more productive and hopefully has knock-on effects in education and healthcare, and the economy grows for everyone. I want that's the goal here. No one is saying the pie is fixed. We want more of the pie, right? Which is one way of arguing about nationalism and even sovereignty. This is not a fixed pie. Our goal at Sovereign AI is to grow the pie as quickly as possible, and make sure Britain has a slice of that pie, right? And we want it to benefit everyone. Make sure we still have a slice. I think that the specific reason why sovereignty is now more it's mentioned more often, is a recognition just at government level that the resources required to win in AI, things like energy and data, and just the scale of the impact it's having on society as a whole, because it's changing so much, it's going to hit regulations and it's going to need to change laws over time, right? And it is going to be disruptive to the economy for better and worse. Right? Inevitably, there's going to be, Schumpeter talked about creative destruction. There's going to be creation, there's going to be destruction. That's all going to happen. And that is a government level issue, right? And I think governments as a whole are starting to recognize that, forward-thinking governments are starting to recognize that. And so they act with their national interests to some degree. And when they act, the market should listen. And I think that it's a fair criticism of the sort of late noughties, maybe early 2010s, that loads of technology companies and entrepreneurs I worked with who, this is just natural as an entrepreneur. You're like, I want to change the status quo. I want to win globally. You possibly listen less to the government or care less about what's happening in the government. Whatever your political view is, it's like, you're just a disruptor. So like the government is the ultimate non-disruptive force. Yeah. So you naturally find that. And maybe, I think it'd be fair to say a lot of companies, social media companies, some of the payments companies, especially some of the crypto companies, they were built with disregard to things like regulation, what was going to happen in the long run to them. And that was probably an overshoot, an oversight on their behalf. I'm a board member of lots of companies, that brings governance responsibilities. And sometimes you have to sit a CEO down and say, look, you need to talk to government. You need to engage. You need to think about, how people will perceive this publicly, because ultimately that's, you're based in a nation state. That's what matters. They have the power. And now what's good is the tech community is engaging. And you can see that in the US, right? You see these roundtables at the White House, which is just like, all the CEOs of every major technology company.
Yeah.
And similarly here, if you look at some of the appointments that have been made in the UK, lots of technologists now engaging and working with government, which I think is a good thing. But I really don't want people to think sovereignty is nationalism. And that's just like, everyone pull up the drawbridges. Britain needs to have the Brit model, and we need to have Brit chips, and we need to have Brit, X, Y, Z. That's way outside of scope, and I don't think that's necessary. We want to work with people globally. We want to be involved in the best companies globally. But we need to do it in a way which hopefully benefits all of Britain.
I just think it's the kind of world-changing nature of this thing, AI, that is making it a need for governments to obviously pay attention, but then also technologists to pay attention to governments, because it just changes the way that humans live life, or like fundamentally, really.
Yeah, it's starting to have very noticeable effects in the economy beyond just like scary headlines,
Yeah.
The Terminator's not here. I don't think it's coming, but there's a lot of like, which was like the first reaction, like, oh God, Terminator's here, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think that was probably overreach. And there are some people who are still, there's always a few voices in the ecosystem saying this is bad. Ultimately, I think it's incredibly positive technology, and government and all of us have to find a way to make it work. And generally speaking, it's very positive, but it's going to change things, and it is changing things.
You mentioned such an interesting thing that I think literally today or this morning I was reading on the FT something about like Sadiq Khan had said that like AI is about to cause like mass unemployment in London was the headline, and it was the most ridiculous thing that I'd seen. How do we speak to and communicate the fact that this is a really positive thing? You mentioned like, yes, there will be some things, like maybe a couple of people will lose their job, but it's a transformational shift on a global scale. Like this should be welcomed with open arms and contained in a sensible way and sort of handheld along as we go, which maybe Europe is a bit better at doing than the US. Maybe there's opportunity cost there in terms of like how fast you're moving, but it's a good thing. Like, how do we explain to these people that, hey, like, don't worry, this is, it's going to be okay. Like everyone's going to be fine.
But I don't think that there was some really good polling done by Focal Data and other people. Like I'll try and post it to you. You can put it in the links. Generally speaking, Brits in particular are adopters of early stage technologies, right? We were ahead of almost everyone in the world per capita in the adoption of e-commerce. We were ahead of almost everyone in the world in the adoption of like neobanking and like paying by mobile. And I think by per capita, we're like the highest or second highest user of AI products in Europe.
Yeah.
So maybe Norway's ahead of us or something, but we're really high up there. So like generally speaking, Brits are like really early adopters of new technologies, and that's a positive thing. Everyone wants to use these tools. Everyone's trying to work out, okay, how's it going to make my life easier? Right? Can I pay my taxes easier? Am I going to be able to settle that bill easier? Is it going to bring down the cost of living? Is it going to make my job easier? So I think overall, people have the questions in their head, like, how do I use this thing to make my life better? And so what's important is, one, we make sure everyone can access it, right? I mean, the worst case scenario is you say, okay, we're going to regulate these things and block these tools, and other countries get access to it before us, right? It's annoying enough that some films come out 3 months before us in the US, right? It would be far worse if new drugs come out here later. Well, sometimes they do as well, but like new drugs come out here later, new education tools come out here later, you know, new advances in engines or energy come out here later because we've blocked the use of AI. That would be really negative. You know, to Sadiq Khan's point, how do you foster mass unemployment in London? Well, you don't let, you know, financial services, technologists, other people use AI and they all lose their jobs because they let them use it in Paris or Switzerland or New York or Beijing. That's the way you cause mass unemployment. So hopefully we can be less alarmist about it and build on most people's natural interest in this space. And we make sure it's accessible. And on top of that, you know, you make sure that you provide clear guidance, whether it's education, whether it's role models, whether it's, you know, effectively championing, you know, the best use cases to encourage adoption. And I think, like, you know, one of the things I found working in government astonishing is there's loads of positive stuff, right? Every civil servant I work with, you know, is positive, wants to work hard, wants to do well, but it's a massive institution, government. It's the biggest organization there is, right? And we don't really know yet if there's a doctor in the East Midlands who's found a way to use OpenAI or Anthropic really productively, even though it's taxpayers' money. We don't have that data. It's not getting back to the top of government yet. There's no single pane of glass saying, did you know this teacher in, you know, in the Northwest has found a great way to get primary school students reading earlier using AI? We don't have any of that data. And so finding that out, championing those successes, I think that will make a difference. And if possible, avoiding the alarmism and unnecessary negativity, so that people actually try these things and don't have the sort of fear that it's going to, you know, replace them, which is in 90% of cases ludicrous, is probably route one.
Yeah,
I agree.
That makes a lot of sense. We've done a lot on new role and the sort of this intersection of government and tech. We kind of skipped over Balderson at the start. I'd love to hear, you know, how are things? What's sort of top of mind for 2026?
Fuse recently raised 70 million Series B.
Yeah, we saw that. Was it a couple of weeks ago? Was that?
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But yeah, how are things? What's going on at Balderson?
Yeah, well, look, we are working hard. I think in 2025, we had our best year, you know, in our 25-year history. And certainly in the sort of 13, 14 years I've been here, we had our best year ever in terms of distribution. So that's like returning capital back to our investors, which ultimately, you know, that's our right to exist. Our right to play is you give us money and in, you know, a number of years' time, we're going to give you the best multiple you can. Don't put your money necessarily into, you know, gilts or the stock market. We're going to give you a better return. And as long as we keep doing that, then we keep being in the market and we keep having this right to play. And the game we're in is backing entrepreneurs in Europe who want to win globally. And what's really great is there are more of those people than ever. I think increasingly working in really interesting spaces. And, you know, we are in a good place to support those entrepreneurs. And luckily, as you say, you know, the market is very strong. Some of our portfolio companies are seeing great growth in terms of like the fundamentals, revenues and profitability and usage. And as a result, they're getting a lot of inbound. So overall, that's been really positive. You know, but venture and tech as a whole, you know, you've got to be paranoid to survive. And it's great that, you know, Fuse, Quantum Systems, Go Cardless announcement, Dream Games announcement, Revolut's announcement. It's great that we've had all of these things over the last 12 months. But I'm also sitting here saying, well, in 5 years' time, you know, the companies I'm looking at now, I want them to be at that stage or beyond, right? And how do I make sure that we are competing and winning to back those founders? So, you know, we've had a good run, but like, man, we are We are paranoid as hell up here at Boulderton. We are fighting for every field. We want to.
House is on fire all the time.
You know, that's us.
You love to hear that. You love to. And Sivesh, is he as paranoid as you are, James? Now that he's moved into a partner role.
I make Sivesh paranoid, I think.
He doesn't want to see you at the coffee machine, for sure.
Yeah, it's heads down.
He's hiding somewhere in the office now.
So good, so good.
I work very closely with Sivesh, and I think we're both equally paranoid about making sure we're working with the best founders we can.
Okay, that's good. I was messaging him the other day about when he's coming on. One day we'll get him on. We were having a funny conversation that I'm sure he'll share once he comes on. But we're coming up to time. I don't want to take too much time out of your day, James. Maybe what have we got? What have we got to look forward to from Boulderton this year? Anything that we can plug?
And you're hiring as well for.
You're also hiring, for the new role as well.
If you are an investor and you want to, go on a mission both to learn more about AI, support AI companies, and also support, British policy in this space, please apply. And there's loads of details on my LinkedIn. You can also ping me, and we have a process there. So do that, apply. We're looking for a number of investment professionals to join that team. At Boulderton, we're also hiring a team member out in DAC to cover the DAC region. Once again, if you go on my LinkedIn, all the details are on there. And hopefully we'll have I think there's going to be a couple of big announcements in the next month or so for you guys to get your teeth into. We'll be sure that it's broken on ETN first.
Yeah, we need exclusive embargoes, James. That's what we need.
You know our email, so hit us up. Yeah. Good stuff. Thank you so much. We always love talking to you. It's just very fun.
Yeah,
we enjoy it.
Pleasure.
It's an open seat.
Awesome. Good to see you guys.
Good stuff.
Cheers, James. Have a good one.
See you later.
Bye-bye. Awesome. Amazing. James Wise, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe trumpets on the exit as well. I'm not sure if trumpets will work.
I hope trumpets worked. Anyway, Spectre, be the reason your fund wins the deal of the decade with Spectre. Go to tryspectre.com. Harness the power of live data and AI-driven analysis to outsmart the competition and make confident decisions in private markets. Go to tryspectre.com if you want to win if you want
to be the reason the fund wins the deal of the decade.
Indeed.
Speaking of markets, let me just get Polymarket in there as well. It's the world's largest prediction market. Stay informed and profit from your knowledge. Go to polymarket.com. Start profiting from your knowledge today.
Right. Times Square time.
Well, we need to see if
Not
we
Times
fix
Square,
the...
Town Square time.
Times Square.
Times Square time.
Bloke stuck in the US.
Can we...
we need to find out if are we good to go... I should have a look
go
at
to
the
WhatsApp.
chat.
Here we go.
I will... yes, I will close... It's funny when I read something, it's quite hard not to to talk and read something out loud. Okay.
Close your laptop.
I'm gonna do this. Well, this is fine for me, right? I don't ruin anything on the stream if I just close my laptop. And now I will reopen my laptop. Just for those who are just listening and not watching, you're missing out on some very sort of slow laptop closing and opening motions here.
Sorry, ETN. The difficulties are always technical at ETN
at the European Technology Network.
Okay, it's not working. Do the second thing.
So I will. Okay. Oh, on the link okay. We're gonna troubleshoot some stuff.
Doing some troubleshooting. We can't even go through Xpost because we can't see the screen.
We could we plug you in instead? Could we plug him in? Would that work? I know, but then I'd have to control. Select screen to share.
Here we go.
Oh, I see. Okay. Ooh, this might be a bit tricky. Oh, I do the entire screen. Okay.
Sorry, viewers. And
then
we will be back.
Use the join with share screen option.
Join with share screen, the entire screen.
Yeah, should be.
Okay.
Click the link. You see it.
So no audio detected for.
I can now hear myself a lot.
Yeah. I might just X that off. I just left the thing. The tab. Oh, sorry.
Are we still live? Maybe put us onto a waiting screen or
No,
something.
don't. People, don't put it on a waiting screen. We don't want to send everyone away. I'm just trying to see. Okay, so I'll hit that link and then I'll do screen share. Join with. It's either join with camera or screen share with room.
Screen share.
Cool. And then if I do select screen to share and I do entire screen, then we get a bit of an echo.
Do it again. See if it happens.
Okay, I can't hear the echo anymore.
Right-click
Nope.
on the tab.
Here we go.
Right click on the tab.
Oh, we're back.
Is there a mute there?
We apologise, viewers.
This is
It's kind of trippy, actually.
it's kind of true. It's making me want to like be sick a bit. I just left that because it was kind of intense.
You didn't put the mute on the tab.
Oh, sorry. We're gonna go again. One more time. What's the Shakespeare quote? One more time over the top, fellas.
I don't know.
Into the.
I'm not that in tune with Shakespeare.
Oh mate, get your Shakespeare up.
I know,
baby.
unfortunately.
Do you want to start just like talking about some tweets? Maybe is that
I mean, yeah, it's
feel
quite
bad
hard.
for our-
It's quite hard to.
without? Okay, so I'm on the thing. I'm gonna do.
I think we should just sort this out first.
So I right click on this. Can you see my screen?
See here. You can see the mute site. Mute site.
Oh,
Go to the tab.
mute site. Boom.
There we go. Here we go.
Okay. And now can I just do it with my little thing? Like I can do my X and my website and with my button machine. Guys, thank you for bearing with us at this moment.
The people who have just recently joined, we just had about 5 minutes of full technical issues, but you know, it happens.
Yeah.
HDMI cables just don't work.
Have you got any
too well.
inbound reporting on such technical difficulties?
No inbound from me.
Mate, ooh.
Go to your screen and then
Actually, I got an XDM.
Say that again, sorry?
go to X.
Okay, go to X.
Yeah.
So this is...
I think the viewers can just see Coffee.
Can the viewers see that?
holding us?
That's a joke if they
Coffee
can.
cup holding
That's
a
a good.
cigarette.
It's a good thing if they can see it. Wait, can you get the stream up? Let's just have a look on your laptop what it looks like.
It's a little bit delayed.
Yeah, I know.
We're gonna have to wait.
I know. They're just chilling. They're just hanging out.
They're just chilling.
Viewers are just hanging out.
No one
there.
can see the X stream.
That's all right. That's weird that that's not working. The HDMI.
Yeah.
We're good now. What do they see? Do they see?
Then coffee stuff.
Oh, they see the coffee stuff. Okay, cool. So this would be. So I can now do. I can just play with my sharer, like the website, the X, all that sort of stuff.
No, just leave it.
Okay, but how do I jump between?
Or you just on X, it'll keep being on X.
But if I want to go to the notes, is all I'm saying. So if I jump like window, because I'm sharing the entire
Yeah, so you
screen.
can press the host number.
Yeah. So if I do this now,
Yeah.
and
Are
that
we
takes
good?
us to.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Cool.
Okay, cool. We are back. So the town square. First on the town. Oh no, you're on. Oh no, you're not. You're good. I think you're good. First on the town square is the Whisper Flow.
Yes.
At the top.
The Whisper Flow.
So apparently, a 19-year-old has built Whisper Flow's UGC program to 500 million views in 60 days.
I'm just gonna hit X here. Let's see if that works.
And the founder of Whisper Flow spills the source on LinkedIn. So he said, and I won't go through the whole thing. We just built the largest UGC program ever. We hit 500 million views in 60 days, and it was all built by a 19-year-old kid. In July, I saw Cluely dominate the UGC creators, 300 million views in 90 days at a sub-dollar CPM. Those numbers seemed impossible. So I hired a 19-year-old student who'd been making content for 3 months to build out our UGC program. That's pretty a big bet. 2 months later, he built the most successful UGC program in our space. That's roughly 10% of people online seeing Whisper Flow's content.
500 million views.
Okay, so number one, give creators real autonomy or they'll leave. Basically saying, just kind of do what you want. Kind of thing. So we gave creators full creative freedom for half their content. Make whatever viral content you want about Whisper, your account, your voice, your style, all of it. That was number one. Number two is build a viral replication system. We had 70 creators making content daily. We monitored everything in real time. And the moment we see a video hitting 1 million views on the first day, we extract that exact script and then send it to every single creator. That's pretty I think that's pretty standard advice. Number three, get extremely specific with your hooks. We built a library of specific tactical hooks, not concepts, actual frameworks that they can use.
That bit sounded a bit AI, like the.
I think it's probably mostly AI. And then the second one is be ruthlessly selective. We launched a program. We had 1,000 creative apply, but we only picked 60. Congrats to Whisperflow. That is pretty cool.
Oh, written by Whisperflow.
It is actually.
Yeah. I hadn't heard of Whisperflow before. But
now you have 500 million views.
Mate, that UGC, but this is such a hot commodity for anyone who's doing like a consumer.
It was like 3 years ago, but I
for
it was still
dude. So for again,
like real creators, I thought the new thing was like an AI creators deploying those across sites. That
what do you mean? Like AI, like fake people,
like a fake person, yeah.
Yeah, so we messed around with that actually at Convergence. It was quite funny. Didn't work very well. But
that guy that went viral, who's the AI monk, doing like life advice.
Is nuts.
That's what I'm saying. Like you can create basically human beings.
Yeah. How many followers did that have on Instagram?
It had like 24 million followers.
I think it was more. I think it was like 42 million.
Okay,
it was like millions. As much as like. Actually, I don't know what Ronaldo has.
Probably more.
Probably well more than that.
But that was all obviously AI. But like it was, they're probably making like hundreds of thousands of pounds or dollars probably a week doing doing AI monks.
Yeah, that's
and then it went properly viral.
That's Tanay over there at Whisperflow, CEO of Whisperflow, sharing. This is Guillaume sharing how Tanay, who is Whisperflow CEO, built up their UGC program from LinkedIn. So if you, platform inception there. But
Indeed.
it's I think Polymarket just hired a really young, I think maybe he was ex-Cluely to do their UGC stuff.
Yeah.
But I think that's the way forward. Just give like maximum autonomy to like a young cracked person who knows the viral game super well. Yeah. And just be like, you just run it.
And Polymarket is a perfect thing to go and do something like that.
It works so well.
But yes. Anyway, next on the show, he should be coming in soon, is Sam Kokek. He is the CEO and co-founder of Clearly. PayPal Ventures just backed Clearly in a 12 million euro raise to enable hospitality payments. Essentially, they do like payment systems, but it's not like hardware. It integrates into like the businesses like POS system, and it's an interesting company. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. It's different to like a SumUp or like a Flat Pay that does like they sell hardware terminals to collect payments through. This provides payment functionality via a POS system, integrating with existing hospitality hardware.
Yeah, nice.
So it is it's a bit of a niche product, which is cool.
Excited to have him on. Maybe
and Sam's a beast, so it's good.
Maybe we can just do some tweets till
he gets here.
Till he jumps in, yeah. So I'm looking at that screen; it's making me nervous. But
no, you're good. Harry Stebbings posted a good tweet. Getting a job in venture capital is incredibly simple. Choose 3 VC partners that you like and would want to work for. Study the type and stage of company that they like. Send them one company every other day that fits their stage and thesis. Provide one line on why it is interesting. Do this for 60 days and 100% guarantee you will have a job offer.
Yeah. So
basically, I do the work for free. They'll hire you.
Fully agree. I just think it's like, you think about. If someone today, for us, again, it's a different sort of industry. This is like a media podcast thing, but if someone kept sending us amazing guests with guest research done, and like, I think you should interview this person because of this reason. This is like, you'd be like, oh, like come and work here. Like, you're doing a great job.
Doing a good job. Yeah,
like definitely come and work here. And I don't know why he.
Oh, you just found a good clip from like from one of our like streams. Oh yeah, great, well done.
Well, I mean that was a bit easy.
No, I think that's pretty good.
What, finding a tweet?
No, a clip, like being like, oh, this is a good clip. You should post about this, and this is how I would. This is how I would write the copy, or this is how I would post, or when I would post.
Here
all
is
that
a
kind of
clip.
stuff. Yeah,
Here's a clip with the copy done.
yeah.
Yeah, that would be cool. But yeah, for some reason, someone came back to Harry here and said breaking into VC is quite hard. It's quite astonishing. You oversimplify so many things. I don't know why. I hard disagree, to be quite frank. This is a very simple playbook that would work for most industries, I think. Not just venture. You know, if you want to break into the thing, start doing the thing.
I've talked to loads of people who are doing very, very well in their career, talking about how they were basically liked by someone who was doing something incredibly better, incredibly good stuff, maybe 10 years ahead of them, and they just hired them, and that's how they kind of started to get going, and that was it.
Yeah.
I was I was 24, someone liked me, and I went into a company because I did this for free, and then eventually learnt the game, and that's how you do it.
Yeah, no,
But
makes sense. I think we had Sam in then for a sec. Did he join and then?
His camera wasn't on.
Oh, his camera wasn't on.
Oh dear.
Well, I think
Here we go.
Okay. Do I? We're just checking with the producer. Sorry. Do I have to get rid of my window that I'm? No, leave it there. Cool.
We're good. Sam, can you hear us? We can't hear you.
We can't hear Sam. Maybe it's on us. Just checking.
No, he's. I think he might have to change his mic settings. Ask him to change the
Could you change your settings on your mic?
It might be the headphones. If you can maybe change it to come out the MacBook or pick it up from the MacBook, might be the reason that it's not working.
If you rejoin, rejoin.
Yeah, nice.
Here we go. He'll join again.
Nothing like a little bit of live technical difficulties.
We've been riddled with it for the past half an hour, but these things happen.
They come for everyone. No one is safe from the technical difficulties.
On the technology network,
including Sam, who is our next guest, who's just done 12 mil.
No, we can't hear you.
Oh,
it says that you're. it says you're muted.
Wait, no, that might be us though. That's on our view. For the viewers at home, Sam just did a very funny, angry hands in the air at the fact that they can't see you yet, but I'm just. I'm explaining it for them. We're just checking. Wait, did I just hear you?
No.
He hasn't selected a microphone when he joins. He selects.
Okay.
Can we
ping what the contact method for? Are we on email with Sam?
Mm-hmm. I'm just getting it up now.
Can you? Yeah, I've got my screen sharing thing. Guests and viewers at home. Hey Sam.
No.
We're just gonna. Okay, we can't hear you.
I can't. Can you? What's the best thing to do?
Send you maybe a quick email. Can you just I think it's when you join. What's the problem, Marcus?
Yeah, it seems like it doesn't select the mic that's needed when he joins.
Okay, there might be a mic selection when you join. Wait.
He's joining with his laptop. With his phone.
Yes.
Yes.
But he kind of needs to use. He needs to use the phone as well as the camera. We can't split it.
What? As in, wait. So the stream can't hear the audio.
Yeah, if you just use his phone, that'd be fine. Sorry.
No, we're good. Can you tell him to just use his phone?
Yeah. So if you refresh that tab, I think he's showing us what he's doing. Can you tell him to refresh? What is he saying?
I'm not sure.
And he's showing us a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Sam, I think we can hear
If
you.
you just use the phone,
Yeah, I think if you just use the phone, then I think it's good, and we can hear you and see you.
This is fine.
If that's okay. Sorry.
Yeah, we can hear you.
It's all good. Sorry for
amazing
the
stuff.
kerfuffle. Yeah, we're a technology network, and it's our fault. That's on us. That's on us, Sam. Definitely not your fault. We're just waiting, I think, to bring you onto the live stream itself. now that we've sorted these audio and visual issues out, so our lovely viewers at home will get to see Sam's face and hear straight from the horse's mouth about the amazing things that they've been doing over the past few days. Just checking with our producer. Yeah, we're good to go. Okay, Sam, you're live.
Cool.
You're on the stream. Thank you, viewers, for patiently waiting. But let's just jump straight into it. We've wasted enough time with these technical difficulties, which is our fault. Sam, what is new? Maybe you can introduce yourself for the stream. We know who you are, but our viewers at home do not, and maybe the exciting news that you have to share.
Yeah, with pleasure. So pleasure to meet. So Sam Koekoek, one of the founders and CEO of Clearly. Yeah, well, we just I'll then just dive right in, and later on I can tell you what Clearly is doing. But we just this week announced that we have raised our Series A of 12 million euros. So bringing our total funding to 20 million. And the round was led by PayPal Ventures. So also a big name in the fintech world. Very glad for this round. We had also IFF, which is the Italian Founders Fund, an Italian fund that has joined the round, very well-known fund in Italy. As well as folks, one of the markets that we're expanding to is Italy, and then our current investors, which is Global Paytech Ventures, Antler, and Shapers, as well, continue to invest in this round. So also very glad for their continued backing. So that's in short about the financials. I guess you guys maybe also want to know what we're actually doing and what we're probably going to do with the money, but I'll first put the mic back to you to hear what you want to talk about.
No. I think that's good. If you explain exactly what Clearly is and what differentiates you guys, I think I explained a little bit, but you're probably better to explain it, being the founder of Clearly. I hope you are. Anyway.
No, definitely. So cool. So maybe I will then, if you want, I can do also a little bit of my background, and then it's maybe easier then to explain what Clearly does. So yeah, in short, my background, prior to Clearly, I worked at a fintech company called Unipass, doing online payments. Super small startup at the time. I was started by the former CEO of SafeCharge, so Soet Nouve, for 1 billion. Employee number 6 or so. Super exciting time. Trying to I was in the go-to-market team, one other person, trying to sell products in the UK market, and pretty much our developers were building overnight. And it was an online-focused business, so online payments, right? So in general, you see, and that's kind of where Clearly then starts from, is general you see that most of the innovation is happening in the online space. When I say online, it means that you buy something in a web shop, you pay with your credit card, that is processed by an ADN, for example, that's an online transaction. If you look at the in-person side, that is when you go to the restaurant, that's when you go to the shop and actually buy your clothing, in this example, in person. That's what you call in-person payments. If you look at innovation, 80% of the innovation is focused on online, 20% is in person. If you look at the market, 80% is in person, 20% is online. You can look at your own bank account, you probably spend more in restaurants, bars, and shopping than you do actually in online transactions. And actually, if you look at the growth, it's going to stay like this, right? So online is slightly faster growing, but it's not going to look like that in the foreseeable future. At any point, it's going to get bigger than in person. So that's with this in mind, we started Clearly, and then we thought, okay, we can do either a broad product and just be another generic payment provider, or it can really focus on one thing. And by actually limiting our market, we think we expanded it, if you can say it like this. So we choose specifically to go after restaurants. But it Clearly has been a very big success there. So we started in the Netherlands about 3 years ago. We've now 4,000 merchants plus, extremely fast growing. Now going to Italy, Germany, so Italy and Belgium today as next markets. And what Clearly in this sense does is we are a payment system that really focuses on one vertical, as restaurants. One of the products that we have, which we don't even think is so innovative, but the market does think, is tap to pay. So that essentially allows you to turn any mobile device into payment terminal. So that's really, from a restaurant perspective, they initially had like 2 terminals, like fixed card entry terminals with a receipt printer, and they had like 10 or 20 handhelds for ordering. We turn those handheld devices into payment devices, so you can order and pay on a single device. But now we're going way further in this, and we're launching our Tap 2 suite, which, for example, helps restaurants get more reviews. helps restaurant get more loyalty, help restaurant, in that sense, increase their revenues, both recurring and new, because reviews are such an important measurement point for restaurants nowadays. And those are things I can deep dive more into technology. But before I keep talking for 30 minutes, I want to give it back to you guys. But in short, clearly, it's the payment system for restaurants.
I love that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, we want to just keep going.
I want to ask about selling into restaurants. I think that's like
I was about to say it's refreshing not to be like it's just another AI thing. I mean, I'm sure there are like AI enabled areas of the business. Don't get me wrong, but it's kind of nice to have like
you're working with humans. How is it selling into restaurants is notoriously difficult, and I guess lots of competitive.
Definitely. First of all, no online sales. Try get a restaurant owner behind the Zoom link. You just don't need to bother to send the invite. So definitely it's a lot of relationship build. It's you get to kind of like point where the market trusts you. So the restaurant owners also go to other restaurants. They talk a lot. So essentially you need to build that level of trust. It's obviously super, it's their market is completely focused on service. And we are similar in that sense. So we're really pushing to give our merchant that sense good service. We work also a lot, and a big part of our go-to-market with partners. So if you compare the UK market slightly different, if you compare to the European market, almost all 80% plus of the restaurants have a non-integrated payment system, which means they have a point of sale that handles the ordering. You go to the restaurant, you order your food. But then when you want to pay, they print a receipt from the point of sale system, and then they come with a separate terminal. They enter the amount, and then you pay. That's how 80% of Europe works, which is completely stupid. If you compare it to online, it's like ordering something online and then getting to the payment page with bank wire instructions, and then you need to do it yourself. That's pretty much how it works here. You get an amount, and then they enter it in the terminal, which works, by the way, in cents. So 100 euros is you need to enter 10,000 to charge 100 euros. A lot of mistakes happen.
No way.
Yeah. So that's how the market works. So we work a lot with partners. If we really see that trend in Europe also, where people want an integrated system. So bottom line is, there has been very little innovation for the in-person market in general, in our opinion. There has been good innovation. You have good companies, some upsettle, different audience. I have to say they're more focused on small merchants, where our merchants are 10, 20x the size that they typically target. So we just really want to push innovation. We really see massive opportunity there. We're glad to have PayPal behind the business now, and bring innovation, much needed innovation to the restaurants, because the only innovation they've seen is moving from a black and white payment terminal to a color displayed payment terminal.
Fighting talk.
That's so joke. You mentioned PayPal. Like, what was it like? I mean, there's a payments. I don't know. Legend. I don't know what monolith. What's the word you even use for that? I don't know. But what's it like working with them? I mean, that must have been a cool experience to to speak with them and get them on board.
Yeah. First of all, I really like the process of PayPal. So the speed of it. So Ashish Agarwal is the partner for one of the partners. He's been with PayPal Ventures since the beginning. So he was the one on our deal. I met him online. He said, "Looks cool. Let's meet in person." He flew over to Amsterdam. And yeah, what I really enjoy in that sense, working with, and also our other investors are extremely fintech savvy, is they actually understand. And that really makes a difference in that sense, because the payment market, if from people from the outside, it looks like, okay, what's the difference in that sense? It's just another thing. Maybe similar what you now can see, let's say if AI, right? A lot of people think that's all similar, but if you actually understand it, you can see differences. You can see differences between there. So that's something which we really liked with PayPal. They really understood our vision in that sense, which is very ambitious. I'm not talking in terms of revenue numbers, etc., but just where we see and where we think the market for in-person payments, particularly for restaurants, is going to move to. A lot of investors thought we're crazy. And with PayPal, we really felt that, having built also this, it's a payment network that they've created, right? It's something different, right? Like, why? Think about it. Working with PayPal, it's 2-3 times the price it could be for a merchant than just accepting regular credit cards? Why would a merchant be willing to pay this higher price? And the answer there is that it actually leads to more revenue. And that's something which is so powerful. And that's what essentially, PayPal does, right? Because it's a layer of trust that they implement, right? You're willing to buy that web shop because they have PayPal. So if stuff doesn't arrive or something goes wrong, your money is secure. That's why they're willing to buy. That's why the merchants are willing to pay a premium. And that's something which I think personally is very powerful, because competing on price is nice, but competing in this sense on product or building a payment network, that's super powerful. And so I hope that answers your question a little bit.
And then with we only have 1 minute left, unfortunately, due to those problems like getting in at the start. But if you could explain to us the plan with the cash, what's the plan with the money? How are we
definitely
deploying
so
how are we going to spend this cash?
We're focusing a lot on market expansion, obviously. So growing across Europe. Then now, and it's also what we're very proud on, is like just growing a lot of the R&D team. Okay, so we feel we are now comparable to other fintech players. So I'm saying to other, we have a very good infrastructure, and now we're going to build the building blocks on top that actually make this not just a marketing slogan saying, hey, we're generating a generic payment system with a restaurant landing page, but actually building a better payment system for restaurants. So that's something which we are now having a very big trade show, the biggest one of the Benelux, where we have a big stand, and there we're actually announcing our Tap2 suite to actually build on this technology and actually create this additional value, additional revenue, similar to the PayPal story, which I just mentioned, for these restaurant owners, and help them grow further in their businesses.
Yeah. You'd love to hear it. We'll have to get you back on. We've hit time, but we lost about 6 minutes at the start. So we'll have to do this again.
For the not being able to log in.
No, that's on us as well.
Idea.
It's shared technical difficulties, but we're welcoming in the next guest. Sam, it was great to speak to you. Thank you so much for coming on.
Great to meet you.
Thank you. Speak soon. Bye bye.
Ciao, ciao.
Cheers. Bye. Straight on the show, we have Dan, but just quickly, Polymarket, the world's largest prediction market. Stay informed and profit from your knowledge.
Profit from your knowledge.
Go to polymarket.com. We're just checking with producer that we have Dan on the show.
We'll be pulling him in live onto the stream.
Can you hear us?
We are good to go.
All right.
Hello.
Hey everyone, I'm super asleep. It's 5:50 a.m. here in San Francisco. It's super dark outside.
Oh God!
And I woke up 15 minutes ago. Yeah.
Dude, you must be knackered. We've been seeing on X like how many demos are coming into your calendar.
You must be you got a full day.
Fucked. It's like I have demos back to back today until like from 9 to 5. Like literally back to back. I didn't put any breaks between them, so just like, people just going for it. A huge problem though is that a lot of people are booking demos because like, not because they want a demo, but because they want a job, and like they're actually just like going on there and like just asking me to employ them, which is like kind of weird. I just like dropped the call instantly because it's genuinely like I'm not hiring in the moment, and it just seems like a bit of a waste of time for me.
Yeah, 100%.
So
that's your first question.
Interns who are also trying to get like, just valuable advice for their life. And I'm like, I'm sorry, as much as I love giving advice, my time in Y Combinator is super limited. So I need to like prioritize the right things.
No, hell yeah. You can't be a hero to everyone.
That's hilarious.
Cool. Well, look, I'd love to, can you introduce, for the stream, like we know who you are, obviously. Some of the viewers will already. But we'd love, who are you? What are you doing right now? And have you been
It's all popping
as well?
off for you as well, which is great.
All right. Well, I'm Dan. I'm the CEO of Sparkles.dev. We are building lovable, but for existing projects. So your hypothetical Sharon for marketing can just go on Sparkles and change a button on the dashboard without going back and forth with your dev team for like a week or so. We're just simplifying the development process for the non-technical folks on your team.
Okay.
Recently, I'll just give a little more. I got into Y Combinator, so that was like a pivotal point in my life where I just decided to just go for it and not wait, not go like with the traditional path with the education, get a job, etc. Just fuck it, just risk it all. Move to San Francisco out of nowhere, And yeah, we're here now.
That's hilarious.
You love to hear it. So yeah, for the viewers at home, I mean, you're 20 years old, right? And you dropped out of UCL to go to YC. It's worked. You're in their winter batch for 2026, and you're blowing up a little bit on X. We've been seeing like a lot of attention coming your way. How's that been? So you mentioned there that people are trying to get a job off you,
ask for life advice, etc., etc.
What's going on?
A lot of people love I understand that like you want to be close to YC founders, and I genuinely respect the hustle. But like if I would be like happy to talk to someone, I mean, if I would have time, I would do it. But unfortunately, I don't. It's just like I'm super time constrained. YC is only 90 days total, and I need to make shit happen in these 90 days.
Yeah.
But other than that, like my success on X was literally one post. I mean, mostly like I posted like, hey, I got into Y Combinator, all this stuff. And then like 15 minutes later, I get like an email from like a guy already applying for a job. And I'm like, what is that? And like, it happened at 3 a.m. I just screenshotted it and put it on X like, oh, this guy found me in like 15 minutes. I wake up the next day to 200,000 views on that tweet. So I'm like, tweeting the next thing, saying like, hey, by the way, I'm building sparkles.dev. Here's my demo link if you want to try it out. And yeah, after that, demos just started like going in.
You love to see it. So what's the plan for the 90 days? Obviously, lots going on. But where do you want to get sparkles.dev by the end of your YC journey?
The goal I talked to my partner with about is 150K ARR. That's kind of like where we want to be by demo day, and I think this is achievable. It sounds a bit unrealistic right now, but I think I can get there.
Mm-hmm. And it's a subscription business model, right?
So yeah, what we do is we got a simple free plan where you can just go try it out for personal projects. If you're using it for the organization, like if you want to add like more people there in the org, it's just literally credits based. So like it's as much you use, that's how much you pay.
Okay, cool. I want to, from a selfish point of view, I want to ask a question. So you're at UCL and you just decide one day to drop out, applies to SF, applied to YC. Like, can you walk us through that decision process? Like what?
It wasn't like
how did
one day I just woke up and like, dude, it would be so fire to just like stop studying in university. Like it doesn't happen like that. It was a journey. So like I probably started going to hackathons last year. That kind of like showed me that I can actually make shit. And nice. That was a good kind of like indicator for me that I have good agency and like I have potential to be a founder. I joked a lot about dropping out because like it just seemed like university is just not giving me everything I want. Like for some people it's great, but for me I just thought that like I can get more. Like I need to be studying a lot more quicker than like on lectures. Plus I don't want to be like learning Java. I'm sorry, but like that's just not the right language to learn in 2026. So I went to work for a cool startup. It's called iterate.com. Shout out to Art and George. They're probably watching. We had a lot of fun in the like 2 months. It's founded by the ex-CTO of Monzo. We worked on some cool projects. Then went work for like a YC startup. And then like I went back to uni and realized that after all this fun in startups, I just need to go back to the lecture hall. I'm sorry, I'm not doing that. So like on a whim, like last day I applied to YC just because like why not? Like nothing could hurt. Got an interview randomly, like pivoted a day before the interview. I mean, I'm still in a different idea. Pivoted a day before the interview, just explained on the interview that's, hey, I was applying with evals, but I am now building this cool thing. And somehow it worked. Yeah.
Amazing.
Thank you, Jared, for accepting me. And I'm super happy that I'm here.
That's super cool.
Shout out to Jared.
Have you got from the demos that you've been doing, or have you had a demo yet? Have you done?
Yeah, how's it going?
Yeah.
I've got any sales?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now about 10 demos in the past day.
Nice.
And you got any sales? Got any? Or are they all on free mode at the moment?
I have 3 customers, like 3 companies in the pipeline that are about to make a sale. I mean, at least I hope they like properly get back to me with their engineers so I can set them out with Sparkles. The weirdest demo I'm gonna have is like, I don't know if you know, there's a quant company called Tower Research. They're quite big. Like, I don't know why they booked a demo. Like someone with @Tower Research email just booked a demo with me.
No way.
So that could be that could be a big deal. Hopefully,
they're in London.
Oh, really?
They're based in London, the Tower Research.
So what's the plan after? Are you going to stay in SF after your YC journey, or are you going to come back to London? What's the plan?
Oh yeah, for sure. I'll probably come back for like a week or two to like say hi to my parents, kind of like get a little bit of a break, and then probably go back to SF and like continue building here.
Nice. And how do you feel? I'm sure you've met a ton of people. Is it good vibes out there?
Awesome vibes, honestly. Like people are, I would say, a lot more not friendlier, but like a lot more open to connect than in London. Unfortunately, right now that's the case. I would say San Francisco is just the place to build a startup because people just make it happen. If you want to make something happen, they'll just make it happen.
Love to hear it. You love to hear it.
We need this energy on the show. This has been so fun.
Yeah, man,
I am trying to bring as much energy at 6 a.m. as I possibly can.
You'd think it's like 6 p.m. over there. It doesn't seem like it's 5:30 in the morning, and you've just woken up. You must be knackered. Have you been to bed?
For like 3 hours, but yeah. My roommate hasn't slept. He's just been locked in, and he's launching today, so like he needs to finish everything. He's also
so you guys are just working around the clock. I love that. That's so cool. Well, look, keep us updated. Just ping us whenever, and yeah, man, good luck with it.
Yeah, let's have you back on after the 90 days. We can check in.
Yeah, I'm so down. Let's do that.
Good stuff.
Legend. Absolute pleasure, man.
Have a good rest of your day. Good luck with the demos.
You too.
Have a good one.
Bye.
See you soon.
Ciao, dude. Oh, that's so awesome. Love that energy just coming in there. What an absolute legend.
Big up Daniil Bakirov, CEO and founder of Sparkles YC of Winter 2026. That is the show, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining. Just a quick word from Spectre. Be the reason your fund wins the deal of the decade. Go to tryspectre.com. Thank you very much.
That is it. That's the show.
That was the show.
Thank you, guys.
We will see you next week.